Greetings, I'm Dean Archimedes, founder of the Keep and mentor to every generation of Keepers since its creation. But that's all you need to know about me. There are many other things you must know. The world is Zaxria, a place once torn from shore to shore during the eradication. A period of time, nearly 220 years ago, when mass-spread chaos laid waste to the entire world. That was until order was restored. In the 43rd year of the eradication, the Keep was established. The Keep, being an institution dedicated to shaping honorable and good men and women into the Keepers of Zaxria. They are the mightiest of heroes, of different backgrounds, all joined together to defeat the evil that constantly tries to throw Zaxria into chaos. It is currently the 75th year of the Epoch of Peace. They have already faced hardships of which previous generations have never seen. But they are nothing compared to what lies ahead of them. A world of deep history filled with diversity, culture, and teeming with life. Zaxria is made up of a variety of kingdoms and continents. The central mainland is Ophelia. The west of Ophelia is home to the breathtakingly tall redwood trees of Vanore. Here resides the elves that protect the forest by any means necessary. Opposite that, to the far east, is the great Brimshire mountain range, where deep inside lies the mighty dwarven stronghold of Yoldgard. A long venture southeast of Ophelia, across the gorgeous yet treacherous waters of the Clem Sea, you'll find yourself on the continent of Azash, in the tropical jungles, where the proud Bengaran people live and pursue a life to one day be worthy of returning to the Beastlands in their truest form. To the far west, across miles of ocean, there is a chain of islands, where the prosperous human kingdom of Southbrook rules the sea with their formidable naval armada. Then, somewhere to the far, far north of Ophelia, amidst the Dragon's Maw Ocean, the Dragonborn reside amongst an island that many leave but few can find. They chose to stay in isolation after eradication for fear of something similar ever happening again. Lastly, floating in the northeast, a land of nothing but frigid cold and endless winter. Now that you know more about Zaxria, let me introduce you to the heroes that safeguard it.
Hi guys, I'm Connor Kepler. I used to think of myself as a normal guy. I just wanted to live a normal life, held with my grandfather in his study in the city of Southbrook. Since a very young age, I've been raised by Grandpa Edmund, who took me in after my parents' deaths not too long after I was born. Grandpa Edmund is a well-known astronomer and educator. From a young age, I became a student under my grandpa instead of attending a normal school with the rest of the children. I can remember from a young age, wizards and educators of the sort would visit my grandpa on many occasions to learn and seek his counsel. My life was normal, that is until my powers manifested. The first instance of this probably happened somewhere around 15 or 16 years ago. Something happened inside of me that I cannot explain. But the easiest way for me to try and explain it is that the galaxy and I became one. Almost anything and everything I have learned, along with things I have not, about the galaxy became clear. The sheer amount of information that I took in left me lost. For a long time I shut myself away. Then, one day, another student came to seek my grandfather's counsel. This person showed a layout that spanned across the whole room of Zaxria's galaxy. Upon looking at this site, everything started connecting together. Constellations began showing themselves, and the ley lines of the galaxy began connecting together once again. My eyes changed colors from a newborn sun's glow, then to the glow of a moon, and lastly a twinkling of the stars. I was then able to use really basic magics. Stars, asteroids, black holes, anything to do with outer space, that's my thing. Since joining the Keep, I have found a new sense of pride and duty. People normally refer to me as the smart guy in the group, reading books and even straightening up a library once or twice. My quest to the Keep started as a journey for love. Then recently, it's taken a change since I died. Yes, literally died. Going to fight a shadow beholder no less named Empress. Thankfully, my pal Finn, who is also a keeper, was able to resurrect me through time magic, with the help of a secret society, of course. Although, that came with a catch. I would only have 16 years to live, so now I would like to gather as much knowledge as I can. Along our journey so far, I found a book with detailed, ancient, and long-lost spells that only those with my powers can obtain. There are more out there, and I would enjoy learning them in hopes of growing my powers and helping those in need.
Greetings. I am a sentient knight of the Eandros Protectorate, but my friends call me Skip. I'm a warforged that stands roughly 8 feet tall, but don't let my size fool you or scare you. I am here to help. When it comes to my past, it's a little hazy to say the least. I know that I come from a long-lost city named Eandros, somewhere in the islands of Southbrook. According to Zaxrian history, it does not exist, and those who have any recollection of it have long since passed. From what I've been told, I am at least 250 years old, and I guess this is a long time. For me, I've never really focused on this thing people call time. I remember the city flooding long ago, and I searched for it, but wasn't able to find it. Instead, what I found was the shores of Ophelia. It led me to the keep. While there, my entire existence and what I stood for, the things I believed in, it all changed. I found Feywild during my time there, the goddess of love, life, and hope. She showed me what it is to be kind and to feel. It has all been strange to experience, but I gained many friends that I consider to be my family since my time at the keep. I became a keeper of Zaxria through many hardships with them, and we have lost people. I remember what it felt like when we thought we lost Connor. I never want to feel that way again, so I vowed to protect every one of my friends, and all those who cannot protect themselves. When I found Feywild, I gained much more than just feelings of love, anger, and joy. I have begun to experience things Connor has called dreams. Dreams where I see a human man. He is a soldier, a husband, and a father. His name is Timothy. But who is he, and why do I keep having these dreams from his perspective? I have vowed to protect Zaxria, but with these new emotions, I also have become curious. And I seek answers. Answers about myself, about medicine, how to help better, how to be better.
Hello, friend, and Malar bless you. My name is Moldrak. I've always felt an attachment to nature and the elements. I'm a Bengaran, a proud people who've evolved from beasts and typically thrive in the humid jungles of Azash. But I never grew up in Azash like most Bengaran. A few generations ago, there was some disagreement, and my grandfather, along with a few others, left the jungles. We wandered until settling down on an island in the frozen tundras of the north. My grandfather said that it made him feel alive. We existed in peace, until one day we were forced out of our village by the frost giants who roamed the frozen tundras of the north. We barely made it to the shore in time, one of them barreling towards us with his large club just in reach to slam it down upon us. I yelled as loud as I could and threw my hands up, bracing for impact, but there was no impact. Instead, I opened my eyes to find a wall of ice between us and the giant. The villagers said that when I threw my hands up, the wall of ice appeared, but it just left me confused. It was after that I began to discover my talents for controlling the elements. I knew I needed to get stronger and to learn more. When we reached Ophelia, I was told of the Keep, a place where heroes are born, where they go to gain strength, honor, and glory. They could hang on to the last two, but I needed to get stronger to protect my tribe. I promised them that I would return strong enough to take back our home. But at the Keep, something happened. My tribe grew. I met a group of people who I could trust with my life, and who I would give my life to protect. And we even became keepers. It wasn't really my goal, but if it gets me closer to being able to protect my people, then so be it. Struggling and fighting against great evils, I knew strength alone would not be enough. I needed to train my mind and to learn more about my abilities. To find someone like me is rare, but the teacher might just give me the edge I need against that beast.
Oh, hey there. Name's Apex O'Hara, the Saronoman, but y'all can call me Apex. I come from a far southern tribe on Azash, a Saronoman tribe, and boy do I have a story to tell you. You see, a long time ago, an elder in our tribe stumbled upon a weird goo-like material. It was real strange. It would move in such odd ways and do such bizarre things. They had no idea what it was. Fortunately for one of the elders, they got a little too close for comfort, and the rascal got hold of them. It was kind of gross if I gotta be honest with you. He started entering the holes of his body and changing the way he looked. He had these dark black veins in his freaking arms started to turn to massive black club, hammer, sword looking things. Anyway, shit was gnarly, and they were able to bring him back to the tribe and try and assess him. Turns out, whatever the fuck that thing is, needs a human to survive. So every so often, when whoever hosts it is ready to die, we have a ceremony to transfer it to someone else. Now you might ask, Apex, what the fuck are you doing? This thing is some weird, unholy creation sent by the gods and will kill you all. Do they have to say? Shit. Yeah, you're probably right. But the powers this thing gives the host is nothing unlike anyone on Azosh has seen before. They can jump super high, run incredibly fast, and punch like a fucking giant. The weird thing is, the types of powers change from host to host. One generation, the guy was able to restore limbs that had been amputated. The next guy after lost a limb, and the poor bastard just died. But then the next lucky fellow was able to turn his arm to a massive greatsword. Jump forward a few years, and now yours truly is next in line. I ended up laying down on the table to begin the ritual, and I remember being in a deep thought, thinking to myself, oh shit, no, fuck! As I contemplated this strange thing and becoming one with me. After it happened, I felt so much stronger, faster. I was all over the place, climbing trees without breaking a sweat. I actually don't have a ton of recollection of what happened after then. That I remember something real bad happening. People were dying. Homes were on fire. There were screams for help. I can't remember.
Don't worry. I will never forget.
Is it on?
It's stupid! I pressed the right one too.
Is it unmuted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Alright, hello and welcome to Zaxria. It has been a while. We're gonna bumblefuck our way through this, but we're gonna get through it.
Bumblefuck our way through this?
The social media stuff is already be on there in the beginning of the follow the channel. Let people know to follow the channel. We're not regularly streaming anymore, but we're gonna keep trying to as soon as we can. But anyways, we want to jump right into this so everybody can be here for as long as possible. So, last we had left off, you guys made your way to Southbrook in order to find the city of Andros. Found your guys selves in some sort of a revolt that was happening within the city itself, and found some sort of a coup or a plan that was pretty much like drugging the king that was there, and his advisor was kind of running all of the shots. Throwing all of that out of whack and making everything back to normal and how it should be, there's actually some form of a council that was formed in the city of Southbrook as opposed to some sort of monarchy. Some of the people a part of the revolt were actually put onto the council. You guys, dealing with all of that, directed your attention towards your original intent being there, trying to find the city of Southbrook. You were directed to a small little island by the name of Lendrum. It is not raining right now, by the way. Island by the name of Lendrum, where you came across a small little village of sea elves. You met the, can't really remember her name right now, it escapes me, but you met the kind of leader there. God, that's going to drive me nuts. But speaking with her, you found that she was very in tune with the element of water and was actually keeping safeguard to some sort of a portal that led to the world of water, where she let you through where Andros had actually been buried and tucked away for several years. Master Jessely, that is her name. Thank you, Duluth. Speaking with Master Jessely, making your way into the world of water, you found Andros eventually, just kind of buried into this small little pocket, deep beneath the water, surrounded by miles and miles and miles of ocean, and some sort of very, very scary sea creatures. Making your way inside, though, you were able to find some sort of strange, pretty much abandoned metallic city aside from all of the guards that were here remaining. The king there, Morthal, you discovered that his original intent was to kind of change everybody on the face of Zaxria to some sort of a war forge, as they thought that they were superior, and the fact that they didn't, become diseased or die or anything of that sort. Skip was lost in the fight to end, all of that, and make sure that they did not resurface in any way. Jessie Lee made her way through, creating a portal for you to escape back to the surface, where you did so. Jumping forward a little bit, you got back onto your boat and made your way northeast, kind of, towards Vanore. Along your ship ride, a very familiar friend appeared. Finn made his way back and let you know that there was some sort of rogue chronomancer, if you would, that stole the chronomicon of time and was trying to, or if you would, there's a scroll looking at an orb. But he had the orb in order to travel to you and bring you to where this individual was. Finding them, you're not really sure what they were doing or why you were needed there, but Finn came and asked for help, and you gladly helped out. Being successful in that, you were brought back to the ship within seconds of when you actually left. You've probably been gone for a minute or two, but appeared right back pretty much within 5 seconds of the original time that you had left. Varys, however, was below deck when everybody had left. But now, currently, you are on the deck of the Peacekeeper. You begin to travel across the bordering waters of the Cleansed Sea and the Sea of Souls. At this point, kind of keeping your heading more in the Cleansed Sea as to avoid being that far west, especially with some of the stories that you've heard about the Sea of Souls and the name itself. You've kind of been at sea for quite some time now, and the days kind of begin to fade to the weeks into months. You're heading towards Vanore, from what I assume, to speak with the Empress of Shannare about the possible coming evils and the assistance of her kingdom should the need arise. During your time on the ship, you kind of look around and think of Skip, looking around the deck a little bit, kind of expecting to see his jovial, metallic self wandering about, looking for help where he can, or reading his prayer book. Makes you think of Ethiel, too, and all of her power and wisdom, how she could let something like this happen. While Skip was no longer needed to fight the fight here, on Zaxria was needed elsewhere. Each of you look at one another and know that you were all thinking the same thing, or at least of Skip. Days of silence pass as everyone keeps to themselves among the ship. The crew does a vast majority of the work to keep everything in order on the proper heading. Moldrak and Ander take turns at the helm, and together are able to manage the ship well in the direction of the way. Captain Wetfoot, if you could, give me a navigation check. So just use your proficiency, and then you can do it with advantage because of the crew.
That's one.
On the wrong way, Cap.
8.
8.
Just my
You rolled with
proficiency?
advantage?
Yes. There's a 1 and a
Just
4.
proficiency.
I re-rolled the 1, got a 2.
Okay. Yeah, it's just your proficiency. All right. At this point, you have realized that during your time at night, taking the helm, that you don't really feel like you're heading in the right direction. It's probably been maybe 9 or so hours since you've been kind of up here sitting at the helm. Jocelyn walks over. Captain, you okay?
I'm gonna be honest here. I think Moldrak might have knocked us off course a little bit when he was up here. Might have to like.
Kind of starts looking around. Make a perception check.
Oh, blew it right into the sea because of you.
Not bad. Perception? How do I do this? 16.
16. As you start to look around, you can see that the water that you're in is extremely calm. Almost a kind of eerie calm. Ajasa himself kind of looks around and looks at the surrounding area. We may have traveled west, Captain. He starts looking up at the sky, starts looking at the stars. Where is your friend? He tells us probably exactly where we are.
Oh, yeah,
I would wait the rest for your compatriots as well. And
Wait,
you can
I-
see that he's looking around.
I gotta stay here, government. You go yell at everybody or something. What are you
Certainly, Captain. I'm
you're
sorry.
sitting here talking to me? What's going on?
I'm sorry, Captain. He goes really quickly down the steps as he makes his way kind of below deck where everybody is at rest. Everyone, wake up! Heads up, Captain wants you on the deck. Connor! Connor! He sort of walks a little further in, tries to find you in a hammock. Connor!
What?
We are off course. Ender wishes for you to put us in the right direction.
We're in the right direction.
We are no longer in the right direction.
Gets us off course every time.
We seem to have drifted far west.
That's not good. Hopefully they're nothing to see the souls.
I go up.
It doesn't sound like a fun place to live.
No.
Souls.
See the souls. You wouldn't think so based on the name.
Yeah. It's not very welcome.
Tales of sea monsters and people dying.
What time? Wait, what time of day is it?
Right now it is night.
Oh,
It's
nice.
probably 9:30, 10 o'clock.
It's my specialty.
Oh no, full clock coverage. No idea where we are.
Hitting the top deck. What do I see?
As you go up to the top, you and one other person will make a perception check.
I will.
All right, go for it.
22.
15.
15. All right. Ajasa in front of you, this kind of Black Panther Bengaran individual that begins to make his way up the top part. You can see also kind of walking along the deck, like on the sides, all of the other crew member individuals, your Bengaran ship crew that you have here. They're all kind of on the edge of the ship, kind of pulling the railings, looking around in the vicinity. Once you get up, you kind of get this very uneery feeling as you start to look around and you can see that the water is glass. It's not moving in any way. There's no wind.
We're like dead stop.
You don't feel as though you're dead stopped, but you can actually just make an intelligence check really quick.
Okay.
Dead stopped, not dead stopped. By the way.
Oh, okay. I don't have that good of intelligence, but just straight intelligence? 18.
18. Okay. The ship itself is kind of moving forward, but it almost seems like momentum from the sails before have carried it, and you can kind of see the tail end of it starting to slowly kind of drift out to the point where there's not really any wind that's pushing it in any sort of
Is
direction.
it going like a drift? Is it going further west?
It almost seems so. If this is heading directly west, it's almost like the stern of the ship is just like swinging out this way, but it's very, very
Luckily, we
slightly
have the
doing it.
medieval
Like you can just kind of tell that it's doing it,
Okay.
but you can definitely tell that there's like absolutely no wind where you are right now.
There's a slight current. I feel like if we just, I don't know. I feel like it could become a bigger current very quickly. Have you ever seen any like dead silence like this on the water? It's kind of creeping me out.
Many of them are kind of looking around.
Not that I mean, I have a relative amount of experience there
You
now,
can
but
see Tritla, who is the kind of female Bengal tiger Bengaran, kind of walk forward. I have not, but I'll tell you that we are in for something.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, every time that the water is even like semi-calm, it usually means something bad's happening, and this is just like
Captain, if you wish, we can drop the anchor. Some wind picks up, but we are drifting currently. We have no control.
I can move the ship, but if we're going to end up in a tough spot, I'll be kind of happy.
where's Connor? Connor, figure out where we are. Can you do that?
He's right
Definitely
Right
gather
here.
with your perception check that you are pretty far west. Probably at least a day or two west. And even whoever was helming it before, something, not just you, but over the last 2
It actually was his fault. No, I'm just kidding.
over the last 2 days, the heading has kind of slowly drifted west and got to a point where you are in the Sea of Souls, at least the bottom, southeast corner of it.
Connor, you getting anything up there?
Where are we at, Connor?
The 3 unique perception checks.
We're not in a good spot.
Where specifically?
Well, about maybe a day and a half to 2 days, probably into the Sea of Souls.
Oh,
Okay.
The Sea of Souls?
Yeah, the Sea of
Half-man, what have you done?
It wasn't. Who's ever been manning the
He's
ship?
the captain.
Well,
I don't know if we should really
Okay.
play like a blame game here. I don't think that's gonna
I instantly blamed it.
Well, lasts for an hour.
20.
And then I can use it in combat.
Just really quick.
You're good.
Don't want to
Oh, don't whisper it this
Did you
time. We
whisper?
got shit to do.
Our game today is brought to you by us. We're sponsoring ourselves today.
as we normally do.
Yeah, we normally do. So please follow us.
Let's get sponsored. Great. Good job.
I tried.
I'm impressed.
Oh shit! You heard her. You heard her. Send coffee.
Are we done?
Yeah. Everyone just tuned out because you did that. This isn't
Damn
now
it!
an ASMR.
Keep one roll. Fuck it up.
Your only job, and you fucked it up.
Okay.
That's
don't-
his job.
I don't know if this is going to be a good idea, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
Oh.
That's a good point. Wait, okay.
What do you have to do?
How much wind are we working with right now? Like,
Zero. Nothing.
I don't even feel it. Is
Captain, what do you want us to do?
can we?
Hold on, just streaming there with an anchor.
I don't. Maybe we should. Okay, I think we should anchor. Try to turn because we are just like going into the like even deeper.
Further into this
Yeah.
issue,
So I think we should try and turn to get out of it. It's a lot easier to do that if the anchor's dropped, I'm pretty sure. If I remember. Just throw it into the water.
Drop the anchor.
There we
Drop
go.
the anchor.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you.
Picks it up. You hear like as the chain starts to like drop and fall out. You can see him kind of watching.
I've done this in Sea of Thieves multiple times. Okay, I'm gonna turn the wheel while it's going.
Times of chain that went out before you can kind of feel it at least bottom out. And then as it hits, you watch the ship as it's like kind of sitting in one spot where the momentum has it a little bit. It's just kind of floating now. It hasn't completely turned, but it's just kind of sitting in one spot. Still facing like kind of.
Can I tell? Does it still feel like it's pulling us towards the like further in?
Make a perception check.
Okay.
I don't think we want to sit here too long, guys.
18.
That seems.
You can see that it's just there's like absolutely no wind, and you're just kind of sitting in one spot. But you can see that there's almost like this strange like magnetism that's just pulling the boat in that direction.
Okay, I think we turn the sails and everything,
Guys,
and we start turning.
What's up, sir?
What do you?
there's
What's
something
up?
in the water.
What's up with you?
I'm going
There's a
to-
lot of things in the water.
Oh, no.
It's an ocean.
It's near us.
Something big.
Possibly. I'm not quite sure what I'm seeing, but we don't want to sit here.
Okay, then let me try and get the boat turning. I'm gonna start.
Your hands up, you feel the boat kind of push a little bit. And you watch it start to
That turn us a little bit. Thanks, whatever's in the water. You're a nice guy.
The Sea of Souls more? Okay. There's like some sort of pull. I think we're getting like drawn in.
I think something's guiding us, possibly.
the boat again.
Oh boy.
I'm
Turn,
gonna
turn
start
the ship
turning it
east. Turn the ship east.
to the east.
I cast control water, and I'm gonna try and manipulate the water to push us forward.
Okay. If you take and you push behind the boat to push the boat forward, you feel a little bit of a wave like ride underneath the hull of it. It moves forward a little bit, and then the anchor kind of starts to pull a little taut. And then as it goes forward,
pull the anchor up just slightly.
Yeah, just start. There's like 3 of them on it now. Solo's pretty much bearing the brunt of it, yanking it up. Starts getting it pulled up to the top, and you watch the boat actually start to move kind of towards the east. But you can feel like on the helm as you're holding it now and one heading that it's kind of like the wheel itself is pulling.
All right, Zarbrax, I might need you over here. Just come over here really quick. Hurry.
Just hold the wheel still.
Okay. I just need you to grab this, yeah.
Pushes forward again with the control water, and you're holding it.
As long as you.
That there's like a little bit of pull, like trying to yank it back the other direction.
Just try to keep it where it's at, and you should be good. I'll stay in here just to make sure.
You watch water instantly just kind of burst up in front of the boat and then push and crash down out of nowhere. It's just complete glass around you. And then water just kind of splashes over you. You watch the bow of the boat kind of pick up and then like ride down the wave and go probably back a good 20 or so feet in the water and then start slowly like drifting and turning again. As it turns, you watch the water again on the side splash up and the side picks up and the boat itself kind of splashes down and moves around. And at this point, you're just watching water jettison up and just splash upward before you start looking around and all of you are like kind of grabbing on, you're looking around. You can see out of the water, it's kind of like you hear it splashing and dripping down. You see these large, like watery arms start to move around and like reach towards the boat itself. You look out towards the front of the boat, you can see one that actually like looks like it's grabbing the water and like pulling itself towards you. I need everyone to roll it.
Fuck.
Hey, natural 20.
How far away did it seem like this thing was? Or like the tendrils were?
There are several of them, and I will show you.
Okay.
That's 12.
This is 12.
It's 12B.
Very 12.
Oh,
Dodge.
Alright. So, Doom definitely up here. You guys can put yourselves wherever you want. Right, 2.
Oh,
I probably would have been closer to the back as well. Just because I was back there.
Where do you want to be?
Push the boat.
Probably front right along my side.
Here? Yeah. Kind of looking out.
Yeah.
Up
there.
Looking.
we didn't put the cannons on yet. It's a mistake.
Oh, fuck. Idiots.
Wait, where was the load down?
It goes down right here.
Okay. So, yeah, I got
Range
it.
on this is like a mile? 300. Okay. Control water.
Control water by pushing all the water away.
Or I can
But land
into a world that constantly batters
One more thing I have to get. I'll be right back.
I didn't.
the mini.
That's so many.
He brought a real Kraken.
Not even like a mini crap, like an actual. You guys have to fight this. He just runs, throws it in the room and runs.
This is why he wasn't ready a couple weeks ago.
He was waiting on the real Kraken.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, hard to get a Kraken. Hard to get a Kraken.
Very rare creature.
Yeah.
Board.
Oh no. Like if you kill it, you can eat it.
Don't eat it. It's not. It's not
Oh,
good.
shit. Some stuff. I don't know what it is.
He's excited. He's like, I want
Hey, that's always the best feeling when yelling your minis.
Okay, so we'll do initiative first.
Okay. I think it was.
I'll go. Okay. Anybody 25 to 20?
Yes.
Okay. Who? What do you guys got?
22, 21.
Okay, 20 to 15.
17.
16.
15. You're right.
15, 16.
17.
You said Ray?
Yeah. 15.
Okay. 15 to 10.
12.
12. For Mary's.
What's your dex score?
Oh,
Higher
18.
than mine.
okay, thank you. I almost had to use my eyeballs. That.
What's everybody want?
I think so.
I mean, I kind of sound like it.
Oh,
It works.
Mary's new voice.
Yes. I become a dark elf.
Woo! We're excited, guys.
I know.
It's been a while.
Me too.
Oh,
Okay. So you're watching in front of you as water is just kind of splashing up in all sorts of directions.
I'm doing it.
Making these kind of barriers. Oh, fuck.
Barriers?
Should I go
Okay,
through this?
we could drive through that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we could 100%.
Ah, come on.
And then you watch on the left side.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Water.
Is that a bear?
To the back side.
It's a water element.
Ooh. Wait, we just have to kill the one at the front.
And splashing on the side.
Oh, jeez.
He's the one controlling the front wave. See?
Can I identify these creatures?
So, very quickly and very easily, these are some form of like water element for sure. Connor, you're up. You watch as from the back of the boat, water splashes up onto it.
Can we
You're
deal with this
looking
one?
at
He didn't
the-
ask permission to come aboard.
You're looking at the front as a huge wall of water is just sitting there. It looks like ice, but it's not. It's just water that's sitting completely still to block you. There's definitely some strange form of magic going on here that you don't know, but you are up.
I am up.
Connor, you're up.
Connor, hey, you're up.
Oh.
Why are you acting like you haven't played this campaign in 3 months, huh? Just fuck it, let's get this going, dude.
I'm going to. Let's just let's start off with a blight.
Okay.
I'm gonna blight the guy on the boat.
Got it. Go ahead and roll damage.
I'm still on the combat.
I need a lot of
It's a 9 for the con save.
fail.
Not the time to do that one. Not the time. I'm glad he put me on here because I'm.
Throw my cards in the ground.
At first, it's
These are just for me to know which one is which.
no worries. We'll keep track of that. That's the way you're doing so.
37.
37.
Oh, dang.
I'm fucking beyond tilted. This is what real sadness feels
And that
like.
is my turn.
Alright, do you want to move it over or stay where you're at?
I am staying where I'm at.
Alright, so as this creature pushes its strange watery arms that are almost these huge clubs that are just like dripping with huge splashes of water onto the boat and like pushes itself up, you watch the water like propel it onto the boat, where you can see that it's now kind of just sitting here with water moving around underneath it. You turn around and grab and pull kind of energy out and try to yank its like life force from it. You see several holes just kind of get pushed through it, and then you watch the hole just kind of fill up with water. It doesn't seem to react too much to the actual pain of it, but you do damage for sure. Sorry, Brack, you're up.
Well, I see this elemental looking thing hop forward.
Yep.
And already angry, I will rage
Okay.
And then I will move towards him.
Good idea.
40 feet of movement.
You want to jump down or go down the stairs?
to the boat
I
without
just
fucking
permission. Jump down.
I'm pissed.
Yep. And charging at him with a large roar with electricity sparking up around me.
Alright.
And I'm going to attack recklessly. 21.
21 hits.
And I do 19 damage. Okay. Magical weapon. Take one slash kind of right down across the front of it. And then I'll attack recklessly again. That's going to be a 23.
Yeah. I have to make a dex save for the aura, right?
Yeah, but I haven't used that yet. That's going to be 17 damage.
Okay.
And then I will attack it with lightning. The save is going to be 14. Does it make it? Takes 5 lightning damage.
Alright.
So 19 plus 17 plus 5.
You jump down onto the platform of the deck. The second you do, each footstep, more lightning is kind of starting to arc around you. Jump up and slash down into it. You can watch lightning actually start to like kind of move with your movements and just like slicing into it. Water splashing all over the place. You can see it in front of you. There's like some semblance of a mouth that's kind of just dripping water that doesn't seem to react to like the actual slicing and the second the electricity hits it, it kind of like. You watch the arm that's like going and moving around this way, you watch it kind of zap, and the water itself almost looks like it tenses up, and then it just kind of gets to the fluid motion it was once in again. Doesn't seem to be showing a lot of pain, but you're definitely doing damage. Alright. After that, Andrew, you are up.
The one on my boat, disrespectful looking guy.
Okay.
Throw some cards at him.
Sounds good. Oh yeah, if you want, you can move that. Might be easier if you just hand it off to probably good. And just angle it. You gotta grab the actual thing. Yeah, it's kind of. A little bit more? You might have to go with that. Go ahead, Jared. Alright, Andrew, sorry.
Zoned out, staring at the fucking thing.
That should be good, I think. A little bit more.
I actually.
That didn't do it. I usually take this. I did a little bit. What do you got?
My attack is at a disadvantage.
It's not.
It's okay, I don't miss. I'm gonna miss now.
There you go. It's better.
It's the moonlight. It's the moonlight.
Yeah.
What is good?
It's trying to autocorrect.
Quit autocorrecting!
There you go.
I just had to yell at it.
Perfect.
Oh, fuck.
Whatever.
Whatever.
It's lightning in the distance.
You said it was small.
In the distance.
18.
To hit?
Yeah.
18 hits. We're back to Jared just shouting out random numbers. That's
I didn't fucking do
It's
this?
just 18. It's just a number.
10 to hit? No, my level.
12 damage.
How much?
12 damage.
The first card goes clean through it. You watch water kind of splash behind it.
I thought 3 cards, right? 2 is my attack, 1 is my bonus action.
Good.
You throw 3
I don't even know how to play this game anymore.
Well,
Immediately after drawing this card, become invisible.
okay.
That was the second one, or the third one I drew, though, so I get another hit
I'll
before I
just hold the
attack.
wheel.
I mean, you can throw the the card
Oop.
and become uninvisible.
16.
Hits.
Oh my God, I actually can't miss.
Well,
Fuck that. I'm just gonna throw it. I don't care.
you only get a point. It begins
Natural
to make
one.
sense. Like they're just huge.
Oh no.
Oh, reroll
I'm
it.
just kidding.
Yeah, you can't get
17.
17 hits.
You get 2 natural.
So the next two hit. So you turn invisible to throw it, then become uninvisible. Got it.
Who likes to be invisible?
People who don't want to be seen.
25 damage.
25 damage.
Wait, what is going
Is that
on?
like a full?
I feel like I'm actually hurting things. That's not right.
Yeah, it's just turn around.
Yeah.
Alright, so as you take the cards, throw all three, they all fly in the direction of the water elemental. All three of them going like directly through and splashing out the other side. You watch the water splash into the water and just kind of sit like glass again. Besides the parts that are just kind of holding up like ice. Every time you see the creature get hit, it seems pretty unaffected from like pain, but you definitely see that it's taking damage. You know, like the blows and everything that you guys are delivering are doing some sort of effect towards its form. After Andrew, do you want to move it on?
I'm going to grab the wheel if I can.
Right now, you're currently just kind of stations doing one of these from the waves kind of splashing into.
I'm also. Can I yell something?
Yeah.
Crew, can you guys drop the anchor so we don't just like drift randomly?
Yes, Captain. Drop the anchor. You watch Solo start to move towards the anchor itself.
Also, you guys should probably just go below deck after this.
Wraith is up.
I'm gonna merge Wraith and Aries together.
Okay.
So it could be big boy Wraith.
Yeah, they're right next to each other too, so it works.
Nice.
So you can just drop his turn to after yours and then do whatever you want to do. Okay. Alright, so then it'd be Nair's turn. Because then he'd go after your warrior.
Alright, so he's gonna be big boy Wraith now.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Alright. Can pop on him. I don't word or anything, but I kinda wanna just yes. So let's freeze these boys.
Yeah. Good idea.
Oh, okay.
Alright. I'm gonna freeze the nearest boy Zara so he can just
Okay.
probably shatter the thing.
You want to like move this way and do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you don't want to hit him. So,
He can break out. He's hot blooded.
alright. So I know it's a Constitution
Boiling
save,
water.
but I'm not sure of the damage and everything.
I'm not here. I can't see anything.
I think
I don't have my
you
stuff.
have the sheet for the.
Yeah, if you have the sheet, that would work. I'll roll the con save. It's 11 for the save.
Fail.
That's not it. Oh no, when it's ward, it's different.
Ice breath. Oh, it's 66 for his ice breath.
Sounds right to me.
But he can only use it for one time. Right? Or did you change it so it can use it?
I know it's different when you're like warded into him. I don't know if it's different outside of that.
Yeah. So if it's just him, he can do his ice breath one time for 66.
That's just an overkill.
Yeah, it's probably a Constitution saving, same as my breath weapon attack, which is. Well, that's fine.
Let's see if I can
More
pull
or
up
less.
the.
Oh no, it's okay.
It's Wraith's hit with a swing spell.
The DC, I think the DC is like 12.
Oh, it's DC.
It's probably just a cone in front of him, so it'll probably always hit. It's just.
This would show the DC is right. But based off the rules of my friend, the DC is equal to 8 plus con mod plus proficiency bonus.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that's more than 11.
For Wraith, it's looking to be, I don't know what his proficiency is,
Should be the same as yours.
then that's 14.
Why did I take this? I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same as 14.
Okay, so it fails. Go ahead and roll the damage.
6 cubes.
The cubes, yes.
Damn!
Wow.
Shit.
24.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Wait. Are you kidding?
I said 24.
Yeah, 24.
24.
Are you sure it's
I'm
24?
pretty sure it's 24. Like you said 24 as though it was not accurate. I was perplexed. I don't know.
He's been rolling 3 of the dice he flips out for damage, so I wouldn't.
Alright, so
listen to the
and
guy.
jump up on Wraith, and Wraith moves his way over to the side there. You watch him kind of breathe in all of this air around him, swirls in, and all this, you can see bits of like ice that start to form around the mouth, and as he breathes out, it slams across the top of the deck as well, but then hits the bottom part of the elemental that's there. You see it trying to move forward, but as it does, there's like a little bit of ice that holds the bottom part of the leg in place. Doesn't seem to do like more damage, it just seems to have some sort of effect to it. But you definitely see it doing something. And you can see that this elemental here is a little smaller than it was when I first got up here, obviously, from getting hit a bunch. Alright.
I can't remember. I think, is it a bonus?
When she wants to just make him like large, I'm pretty sure we just agreed that he just becomes big, but if she wants to make him small, it's like a thing that
So
happens.
does Daenerys herself still get a turn? Well, that's what I was asking. Is it making her big in action?
Yes, making him big is an action. It
Okay.
takes 10 minutes to make him small.
Okay.
So it would have been action for her to make him big, jump on him, then him go over that way.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's it. Moldrak, you're up.
Do I see this one behind me here?
Yes, most definitely.
Also, a bit of a knowledge question. Would I know that these would have to be controlled by something, or can these creatures just simply exist in the ocean?
Go ahead and make a wisdom check.
Okay. 10 plus 4. Do I have proficiency or anything, or just wisdom?
Just wisdom.
Okay, so 14.
Every time that you've ever learned or read of them, they have been controlled by something, but it really doesn't seem like they are. They almost seem to be acting in a way that you would expect some sort of pack animals or something of that nature to react or act. You know, they almost seem territorial in a way.
Alright, that's fine. I'm going to run over to the side, lean over, and I'm going to blast out a frost check against this creature.
Alright.
Which I have to make a spell attack, I believe. Creating a small concentrated amount of cold energy in your palm, you blast it outward at a creature. On a failed Constitution save, the creature becomes restrained, and it's restrained until a successful save is made at the end of their turn, or until the creature is.
Okay.
So that's going to be 18.
Yes.
Okay. So it needs to make a Constitution save.
Does that do damage?
No.
Okay. Makes the save.
Okay.
It is immune to being restrained, though.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I know that now.
Well, I think it makes the save too. 8 plus 11,
16.
18. Okay, then it doesn't make it, but it's immune to being restrained.
Right. And it doesn't like freeze it at all or anything?
You do see the ice actually start to wrap around it in some sort of a way, but it seems like it almost needs to be applied in some form of like damage to do some the same effect that Wraith's stuff was doing.
No worries.
You want to move at all? You are kind of within its.
Or if I step back, is it going to attack me? Because it was like a ranged attack.
Yeah, you could be far enough back if you wanted to.
I'm going to move just kind of back with Ander here. Okay. Just like back to him in case this thing comes up on the deck.
Okay. The crew begins rummaging around. They all run over to the anchor and kind of grab it together and just throw it over the edge, and then start making their way down below deck. The elementals
Also, I still have control.
Still have control water.
Yeah, it's concentration. For 10 minutes.
Alright, so.
They seem like they would give pretty good hugs, though.
The one under. Yeah, they're at least 12 feet.
A little wet.
A little bit, but it looks like it might be nice.
The one in front of Zarbrex is going to make the 2 slam attacks against you.
Okay.
It's like big time.
Advantage. Yeah, it's your attack right. First slam attack.
That's kind of fun. It's a fun hug.
30 to hit, barely hits.
Never been, you don't want to
And the
lose that?
second one is a natural 20.
Really?
Oh. Wait, you're raging there, right? Yeah. Bludgeoning.
So the first one.
Wait, that didn't make sense. I don't understand.
15 damage on the first one.
Okay.
Bludgeoning, so halved to 7. Yep. And then the critical. 15, not half. That's me doubling it, so that's just normal. Oh wait, no, sorry. Yes. Okay. 50.
Oh yeah, I can.
Alright, after that does that.
Okay.
So it looks like they're not going to miss very much.
Our army of Anders? Shit.
Yeah, we're fucked. Next campaign is what I mean. We're fucking done.
Alright. Over here, you watch as it comes up. It doesn't actually take its fist to go slam. It just kind of lets itself fall on top of you, and all this huge wave just kind of splashes over you and Ander. I need both of you to make strength saving throws.
Not so experienced last time.
Strength saving throw?
Yes.
22.
16. Fail. Success. Holding onto the wheel.
I'm fucking swole.
Yeah. Alright. So, you both take the damage still.
Really
Well, you're
good.
going to fight this thing and it's knocking me away.
I'm not that strong. Come back.
Said you were swole, dude. I'm leaving that with you.
Oh no, dude.
24 points of bludgeoning damage.
Half?
You take 12. You watch
Oh, he's going to swallow me.
as it slams on top of both of you. You holding onto the helm of the ship. It kind of absorbs Moldrak into the center of it and is kind of holding him
This
up
is
in
actually a
there.
better spot.
And then you can feel that you are unable to breathe in here, and you are currently grappled by the creature.
Quick question.
You're
quick question.
restrained, sorry.
How are you feeling right
You're
now?
inside.
Did you have fun when he grabbed you? See? Told you. Fun.
Oh my
Bring me off the arm.
Yeah, you kind of get like this huge wave that holds over you, and then the water pulls upward, and as it does, it just kind of absorbs out and has you in this huge ball next to it in the water.
In a
You're
ball
not,
of
you're not just
water?
like floating. You're like inside of it, like rolling around kind of in a way. And then every now and then it kind of calms down, and you can kind of look. When it goes to move, it kind of moves, and you just like roll around. Yeah.
Right.
But you're just considered restrained.
And my ability to hold my breath, that's based on my constitution modifier.
Right. So a number of minutes equal to your
I've got
modifier.
18 on.
Okay. Well, it's a number of minutes equal to the modifier, I think, right? Yeah, so however many.
3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah, there.
Unfortunately, he caught you off guard with the thing, so it's half.
Alright,
Okay.
and
I'm
similar
still fighting
effect
pretty good. Yeah, you're telling.
to what the one over here did is going to do it to Nereus and Wraith.
Oh, that thing's about
He about to grab a dragon?
You can grapple one large creature or up
Now
to
you get to experience the nice hugs.
It's actually just going to try to grab Wraith.
Okay.
So I need Wraith to make a strength saving throw.
Oh my god.
Remember to bring your sheet and I won't pick it.
Correct.
Well, good thing it's a 4, I think. Maybe it's a 7. It's definitely
I think either way, it's
That's a
probably
4 plus 2.
I'm gonna be honest with you. He's not making it. He's not making it. Yeah, he ain't making it. He's experienced in the hug.
great. So 5.
Hey. Probably might make it because this one's weaker.
6.
The smaller of probably is. Okay, Wraith takes 19 bludgeoning damage. And he's currently restrained. And you land on the back here. Or land on
Hold face up. That's fucked up. And then fall to your back.
You watched the elemental where it was this kind of very, very dark blue condensed form actually kind of spread out a little bit to accommodate for holding Wraith like inside. Like it's kind of just on the side. You can see a smaller arm over on the side here and it's just sitting. Wraith's kind of on the inside like clawing and trying to like slash and swim his way out, but he's just kind of rolling around on the inside. Stop staring at me like that. Connor, you're up. Top of combat.
How much? Wait. You skipped my boy.
Oh shit, Apex. You were supposed to go after Ander, dude.
Wait.
I'm sorry. There's two A's, so it really fucked me up. Go ahead, and your first attack's at advantage. I'm sorry, buddy.
Is this the first round still? Can't attack this turn anymore.
Shit. Your next attack, or your first attack for the whole thing. Okay, what button?
This guy?
So you really were missing out, so you don't get an advantage.
Did you
Which
go
one?
over to it, or were you just
This one.
Yeah.
This is good. Or wait, I'm gonna make it red.
You get advantage?
Did you want him to move?
Well, you actually cast claws.
This one here, right?
Yep.
Pog.
Okay.
Alright.
Right here.
Okay.
Alright. You're up.
How much? What's the range between me and this guy?
Big boat.
This big bone.
About 90 feet
90 feet.
in a straight line.
Okay, 90 feet. Alright. I am going to move 30 feet towards this guy.
Okay. Like this way.
I'll go like,
along the edge.
yep. So I can be in range of 60 feet.
Okay. 60 feet exactly.
Alright.
Does.
Going to cast Banishment.
Oh, we're gonna kill it right now.
I'm going to Twin Spell Banishment
Okay.
to target this guy and that guy.
Oh, what if it banishes us?
It doesn't.
Go for it. I don't care. I
So
want to see
I'm gonna Twin Spell Banishment on both of those guys.
What kind of save?
Charisma.
Charisma save.
Oh fuck.
Okay.
They're good at talking, I guarantee it.
They're good at talking.
If you could understand what they're saying mad fucking game. Mad game.
Here's Banishment.
I speak like.
I don't know why I didn't try to talk.
They're not native to this.
Hey, wait, we don't need to do
They're
this.
stuck in whatever plane
Like,
they're
yo,
native
we're
to.
cool.
Bro, they're hopping on the ship like, we're just trying to sell you guys some stuff. We just start whooping your ass.
Let's go. I'll make a save for this one first.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
DC's 18, by the way.
Well, that one's on forever.
Okay. Rolled an 18, but it's gonna be a fail because
Is that a minus?
He's at a -5.
Well, probably not 5.
No, it's not.
Damn. Didn't even banish me.
Read this.
it doesn't say anything about like if it's holding a creature or whatever. So
Yeah.
its form just disappears.
Now you just do you. Now the second one. With that twin spell.
Cool. Yeah, extended spell too, right?
Actually fucking genius.
Alright. You watch Connor reach up towards the sky and like yank down, and as he does, you watch like it almost looks like stars just get ripped from the sky itself, and then as one of them just hits the top of both creatures, there's this quick like flash of white and purple light, and then the water disappears. You kind of both come out like Wraith, and you kind of take a deep breath, look around in the water that was. There's not even like a drop of water left on the deck aside from like what was probably residual from it bringing it up. Alright, so.
Oh,
Yeah. Dude, wait, hang on. Do the walls stack?
Yes. You can see the walls are still there.
We'll crash in them once.
Well, wait, sorry.
Oh, I took.
I didn't even put the other two.
Would I take any damage from the creature at all? Or would I have had to make a concentration?
Oh,
check?
it's just convenient that the one that's still on if you were in there. Oh, starting next turn.
So if I was in there.
As long as your dragon can see you, it has advantage on the save.
Oh well.
I really need to go through all my stuff, honestly.
But he is gone. So.
But next time you get sucked into the water and
I know.
Sarbrax, you were up.
Alright, can I aim at the ice that's on him?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna take a swing at the ice and attack breakfast.
Go for it.
That is gonna be a lot. 25.
That's.
okay.
Ooh. 11 damage.
Okay.
Does the ice shatter or is it still there?
It's still pretty solid. But you can definitely see it kind of crack a little bit.
Alright, I'm gonna take another swing at the ice. Again. 25 again. It's gonna be 19 damage this time. And then I'm gonna need you, boy, to make a saving throw.
Dex?
Yeah.
12.
Well, he failed. And he takes 6 lightning damage.
Alright. How do you want to do it with the lightning?
Woo! Alright, so I'm gonna just take I'm gonna start slamming into the ice. 1, 2, and then with the last one, lightning is just gonna shoot through the axe and come through the head and then just bolt right into the ice and make it fucking explode.
Alright, so as you're sitting there and you're hacking into the ice, you can actually see the ice is encompassing some of the lower part of the actual form where it's not able to walk or move. The first hit kind of cracks and it moves upward, and you watch the chest kind of get held a little bit with some more ice, and then the second hit it goes all the way almost up to the complete top where just the mouth is kind of sitting there and the rest is frozen. Take the axe and then slam it across the chest, and lightning arcs and shoots upward. Ice starts fractaling everywhere. The little bit of water that's left kind of splashes into the water, and then the aura around you is just crackling extremely loud, and you can just hear lightning around you. You start frantically looking around for something else before you start to calm and breathe. You can put a charge in the axe.
That's another one. Only 18 more to go.
Easy clap.
More guns.
You
Do the walls drop now?
And the spring wall drop.
After a little bit of time, the walls do drop.
Oh, a little bit of time, so
like
once
a
we
minute's
get fucking
time?
back.
Probably about a little over a minute. Probably close to 5 minutes. You guys don't see anything around.
Easy.
The elemental stuff in back.
The elementals do not.
We don't get the XP for those ones though, so bring them back.
I'm gonna, with my
Shit, you're right.
remaining-
Hey.
Is there any is still dead? Sorry, what?
20.
Still dead.
The wind is extremely calm. So.
I'm gonna use the remaining time with my control water, which is probably if you said it's been about 5-6 minutes, I've probably got 3 minutes left on it. I'm just gonna, with as much force as I can, push this towards the east.
Alright. I'm imagining you're pulling the anchor out.
Oh no, I don't. Yeah. So I yell for the crew. Crew, get back up here. Pull anchor.
Yes, sir. They run up and
I'm just
start pulling
while
the
they're
anchor
doing it,
out.
I'm turning the ship to the east.
Captain, if we could, whenever you get the chance, maybe get some sort of a crank for the anchor itself
Oh yeah,
as they're pulling it in.
that's a good idea. Andor could probably make one.
Get the anchor up. With a little bit of a push, the boat starts going towards the east. Connor, if you could make just roll a d20 at your proficiency.
You know what? I'm playing Connor. I can luck.
True.
23.
Oh, 43. All right.
Yeah.
Jared, can you put it back to the normal scene?
I take me to those guys.
Up a little bit. Alright, so you're able to look up towards the sky and stars and know that you are heading east. but you also want to kind of have a northeast heading. So you direct Ander and Moldrack in the direction who also lets the crew know.
Oh, the other way.
Yeah, it's got to go more. I can see
A little bit more.
Yeah.
That should be good.
Would it fuck you up if I sat like this?
No, because I wasn't looking at you in the first place.
Okay. So, several more days pass at sea, and you can now see by the way that the clouds are and the wind is shifting that a storm is in the works, but it's behind you. Kind of light crackles begin to become prevalent as you kind of travel more north. The wind has kind of shifted from this west wind to kind of like a southern wind, so it's blowing now directly behind you. The storm behind you also seems not too dangerous as long as it doesn't catch up. You are kind of knowledgeable enough to know that you don't really have to worry about it too much as long as you keep a good pace towards the city itself. Is there anything anybody wants to do over the next few weeks, days, whatever it may be? You guys aren't really sure how long you have till Vanore, but
do we have
anything anybody wants to do?
Do we have extra wood just sitting around?
You have like barrels and crates, like empty ones below deck. That don't have anything in
You
it.
think I can make a crank with some just random shit around?
Depends on what you have.
We'll go around the ship and just grab random shit that we could use. That I could use.
Go and make an investigation.
Nice. Investigation?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yep.
14. Just clarifying. Shit.
You can see that for the most part, you are only able to find the crates and like the iron banding that holds them, well, not the crates, the barrels, iron banding. You probably only find a little bit of scraps from that. You've got a hefty amount of wood. It's just the amount of metal you have, unless you have scrap metal on you, is what you're kind of lacking.
I'm on my Moldrack.
Okay. While he looks at that, easy enough. You find Moldrack up at the helm. Anders kind of below deck doing his own thing. He's taking a nap. You come over and wake him up. Like, hey, make sure
You're driving the ship.
We want to keep going forward. How much gold do we have right now?
We have. Let me consult my ledger. About 900, and then we have some various goods for trade and selling. We have one of those emeralds left. We have some jewelry.
We know how much that jewelry would be worth.
About 100 gold. Best guess. From Cotton itself.
Really? Would I be able to get about 370 gold?
Yeah, sure. We need to pay the crew, but I don't remember how much that was.
I'm sure you guys already paid them.
We paid them for a few months.
Yeah.
I don't remember how much.
Yeah.
We've been traveling for a few months.
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't. You can always ask.
That's true.
Don't ask.
I
That's
can
a
give you
bad idea.
What'd you say?
Here's they'll bring it up.
I think I have contracts in these papers somewhere. Something like that.
I'm going to do it for a second.
I went my hand. Like an old car. Yeah, I keep it like that. Thank you. Don't ask for me. Don't ask for it later because it'll be gone.
Okay. I won't question it.
And I go throw it off.
Staring at it all the time.
You're about to get yeeted off the ship.
I go back under deck, and I want to start learning a spell.
Nice.
Celestian's Con. Got it. Third level spell. I have 700 and 76.
Okay.
750.
Got it. All right. Trying to remember I know that there's a check associated with it.
Yep. Go this. Yep.
Yeah, I know you might have the paper printed out.
I do. 10 plus spells level per week, so it's you do come at like depending on the spell's level, that's how many weeks it takes, and then it's 10 plus the spell's level. Arcana check.
Okay, so for the next 3 weeks.
Yep, that's what I'm doing.
So go ahead and make your check for this week.
This week,
You at least a 13.
natural 20.
All right.
That kind of 2 weeks work.
I thought about it for a second, but no.
I get advantage on these things.
You begin to look into the spell with like Selshin's comment. That's a lot of Selshin himself is with the stars and all of that, so it makes sense with the spell. But you're starting to lean more in that territory too as you've learned like other spells, and you're starting to see all of the different components of the kind of cosmological magic. This is pretty easy for you to pick up on. You get it, start reading the book, looking at the runes associated with it, and all of the arcane script with it. It's very simple and comes very naturally to you. You're able to do it and know that your next few attempts to really master and learn the spell will be pretty easy. Anybody else want to do anything?
Yes.
Okay.
Since the last time I tried to do this, before we ever reached out,
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to like kind of meditate and focus my energy towards my powers because of what Stormcaller Uldar told me. However, now that Skip has passed, and we're just out at sea or whatever, I'm going to kind of just be like standing towards the front of the ship one day, and I'm gonna try to pray to Keranos and ask him for guidance as to how I can gain more control over these abilities.
Alright, I'm going to ask you to make a religion check with advantage.
Ten.
Alright. It is probably about midday. You can feel the sun kind of on the east against the scales. You kind of take a moment and breathe and look around and can see everything about you. That storm that was kind of rolling behind you has disappeared and the sounds are completely gone. Take a moment and kneel, kind of sit at the bow of the ship, and do your best to focus. Try to think of how to pray or even begin to do it. It's kind of like it's
kind of there in my mind, just mimicking like his actions.
As you begin to kind of not really take rest, but like you said, meditate in some form or try to pray, you can kind of hear the peaceful sounds of waves around you, them splashing against the side of the boat. The wind itself almost has like this kind of musical hum to it, and you're able to actually, for the first time, calm down for a moment. You don't feel this perpetual kind of anger, and your heart rate isn't constantly like beating extremely fast. You sort of drift off, and not like falling asleep, but drift off in your mind a little, to the point where it kind of makes you like think like, oh, I'm not trying to fall asleep, so you go to wake up, but then the sound of the waves that you could hear kind of splashing against the side of the boat, you actually start to hear the sounds of stone, the waves splashing against stone. You open your eyes, kind of confused, and as you open them, you see before you stone steps. The steps themselves are cobblestone, kind of broken in places. You can see each step itself is probably about 5 feet wide and about a foot or so tall. You look around and see nothing but water. You're no longer on the ship. You're no longer anywhere near anything besides what you can see in front of you is this large kind of obelisk up at the top of these probably, I'd say, 30 or so stairs. You look around and see that you're standing on a circular slab of stone that appears to be floating in a vast and kind of dark sea. The sound of waves themselves begin to get deafened, as all you can hear is kind of like lightning and storms around you at this point. You can hear the crackling of thunder, you see lightning arcing across the sky, and it doesn't frighten you in any way. If anything, it infuses you with this strength. You can feel your muscles kind of begin to pump up in almost this sort of belonging that you can feel where you are, almost as if you're at home right where you are in the center of what appears to be some sort of raging storm. Rain is kind of pouring down onto the slabs of stone, and you can see the thunder and lightning and everything around you is kind of doing this like circular motion. It doesn't look like the storm is moving across like the sky. It's just kind of like this circle, like almost like you're in the center of like a hurricane. Lightning and thunder begin to keep arcing, and as you look, you can see an arc of lightning kind of slam down and take a chunk of rock from one of the steps that are in front of you that falls to this vast ocean. You can see out in front this large obelisk, behind you ocean to the left, ocean to the right, ocean, and in front of you some form of obelisk. What do you want to do?
Dive into the water. You didn't expect that one.
I'm gonna with no real idea what's going on, I'm sure I feel some sort of draw towards the obelisk, so I'll start ascending the steps towards it.
Alright. Why don't you say ascend? I usually use descend here. As you ascend the steps, the thunder continues to kind of rumble, and the sky lights up as lightning kind of arcs across it. It begins to kind of lightly rain as you get about halfway up, as before, where it was kind of pouring down. A loud rumble kind of rings out, followed by this large crackle of lightning in the sky that you kind of look up very quickly at. You can see as you're looking up, in this sort of distorted, broken crackle across the sky, you actually see very clearly a set of eyes. The lightning stays in the sky and the crackles kind of in place, forming the eyes themselves. You can see the eyes are strong and defined with this blue iris, and the iris itself is kind of this deep, deep thunder that's kind of crackling around in a kind of circle that is unmoving. The eyes themselves don't really have any discerning features other than that kind of deep blue color of the eyes that you see. The crackles of white lightning on the inside that kind of look down at you, almost to represent some sort of a pupil, doesn't frighten you, but you stare at it for a moment and it fades as the clouds cover it. You now look to see in front of you a large stone door. The door kind of pushes inward into the building, and you can see on the door itself this large lightning bolt symbol, similar to the symbol you saw when you were in Tenebeth. Immediately recognize it to be the symbol of Keranos, the god of the storm.
Walk into the door, push it open.
Alright. As you enter and push on the door, you can see once you push the door, you kind of give like a light push to it before you watch lightning kind of crackle across the ground and push the door all the way in and open. As you see, you can see the stone on the floor in here. There are cracks inside of it, but the cracks almost seem intentional, like these large crackles of lightning across it. And every step you take across the stone, there's lightning around the floor where you are. But if you look like behind you, there's no lightning in the cobblestone that you're not near. But the floor itself, every step you're taking, it's kind of like following you. Kind of stand still and look underneath you, and it's just kind of crackling around, not like on the surface of the floor, but in the cracks. It's just kind of like lightning moving around. Where was I? There's. As you get into the interior, aside from the floor, it's very bare. All that's in the space are these kind of large braziers of fire on the sides, and then there is a large lightning bolt statue on the other side of the room, similar to the lightning bolt symbol of Keranos, with an individual kneeling at the base of it. The second you take a couple more steps in, the individual gets up slowly. You can see now what appears to be this faint aura of deep blue crackling energy around their form. They appear to be there, just kind of almost like a projection. You can still see very humanly features or, discernible features to it. There's just this kind of blue aura around it. As they turn to face you, you see a familiar, muscular, dark black, kind of short, braided hair, this kind of large black beard that's nicely trimmed with white flecks through it. This dwarven man standing before you, Stormcaller Uldar, kind of looks towards you, stoic. We meet again, Zagorax.
I'm not expecting to find you here, but I can't say that I'm unpleased with your presence. What am I doing here?
It's time to progress your training. But first we must know. You seek strength and power from the storm. Or do you desire to use it for knowledge? to worship Keranos. Either way, you give thanks for the gift that has been bestowed upon you.
Quick save. Just a pause menu, like strength and power, knowledge.
That wasn't the right one. Back.
I believe for the adventures that I've been going on, strength and power may suit me best.
Good. Kind of leans or gestures for you to just kind of walk out in front of him. As you begin to get closer, he continues to speak. The storm is full of different parts. Thunder being the strength and force. Lightning is agile and intelligent. Follows a path that will least resist it. The rain washes away the destruction left behind, giving way for new life. A new start. For you even. The storm has been following you, but now it's time to know what it means. You must harness all parts of the storm. If all that rumbles within is a rage of thunder, it will destroy the potential you have to harness this power. You must learn to hear the thunder, funnel it into battle. You must also calm the storm from within. Be able to understand that what you have is meant to be used for a purpose, much greater than defeating your foes. You've done well calming your storm. I told you to keep trying. Now that you successfully have, that's what brought you here. You can feel his presence within this temple. It's a safe place. You are still on the material plane, but you have been projected in a way. It's hard to explain, and I'm sure you won't understand, no offense, but
I'm taken. I'm pretty confused.
let us calm your storm again before we proceed. Kneel, close your eyes. You kneel down and close your eyes, and the second you close your eyes, you can actually hear the thunder and lightning kind of moving around more heavily, almost like it's right in your ears. His voice kind of breaks through that storm and all of that sound. It doesn't really deafen it, it just overcomes it. Breathe slowly. Listen to your heartbeat. Feel the blood as it courses through your veins. Feel the strength from the thunder. The electric feeling through your body from the lightning. Know that strength is always there, ready for you to be tapped into when you need it. Think of why you need that power. Why use Zaxria? Why were you chosen to bring the storm and wield its power? No matter what happens, focus on the storm you hear roaring inside of you. Keep it at bay. Do not let that storm control you. No matter what, you feel a huge punch come across your chin. I need you to make a wisdom save.
Knocking the intelligence in
You won't learn.
me. 14.
14. The second he hits you and you open your eyes, he looks at you. Stay calm. Close your eyes and focus, no matter what happens. Calm the storm, no matter how angry you get. Stay calm. You hear crackling and thunder start to break. You even hear thunder kind of arc and almost like it slams directly next to you. I need you to make another wisdom save.
19.
19. Thunder breaks and you actually feel stone next to you kind of crack and hit against your body, but you're able to keep your eyes closed. As you're sitting here focusing even more intensely, the thunder and the lightning start. You can almost see, like, with your eyes closed, the lightning kind of flash in front of you. You hear him yelling, "Stay calm, no matter what, Zaxria." You feel your chest get kicked pretty hard. Not enough to, like, put you on the ground, but enough to, like, kind of shake you and kind of piss you off a little bit. Go ahead and make a wisdom save. 4. When he kicks you in the chest, you kind of instinctually get knocked back to the ground, and go to push yourself up, like off the ground, like to fight him because you just can't resist. As you do, he puts a strong hand on your shoulder, and you can feel the strength and see actual the muscles tensed up as he's holding you down, and you're trying to push yourself up. As he's pushing down, he puts another hand kind of up onto your shoulder and goes to like push you down even more as you're trying to like almost like fight and push his arms off. Make another wisdom save.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. Puts both hands, and as you're sitting there, he kind of holds you in place. Calm your storm. Kind of gently pushes you down to a kneel, and as you're kneeling and your eyes are closed, you start to listen, and you can feel your heartbeat kind of from when you were, kicked and frustrated and trying to jump up. Kind of take this deep breath, and you can feel this presence kind of with you that calms you in a way, almost as if you feel not Uldar, but possibly Keranos. All of the stormy sounds kind of dissipate. You feel the hands kind of come off of your shoulders. Sounds of waves come back through. Open your eyes and look to see the bow of the ship again. Everybody behind you. Not really sure if what happened was real or not.
Just kind of taking a pretty deep breath. Let it out. Try to stay calm after what I experienced. And probably just go down to my hammock and rest. And not kind of sit on what just happened and think about it as much as I can anyways. And then definitely focus on maintaining that calmness.
As you're sitting there and you can feel your heartbeat kind of racing just from what happened, just kind of like very quickly. You start to breathe and it slows down enough. Just kind of take a breath and watch the lightning that was kind of crackling around you that you didn't even realize kind of subside. Make your way down to the hammock. A few weeks pass. Is there anything you're doing in those weeks? I know that you were looking for scraps and stuff, so.
It's not gonna work.
Not gonna work, okay.
Falling apart.
Put a pin in it. Alrighty. Several days have passed. At this point, you have been at sea since leaving Southbrook to Lendrum and then leaving Lendrum. Lendrum only being, I believe it was 2 or 3 days from Southbrook by ship. Now heading to Port Vistja. It has easily been 3 months. Kind of hard to keep track of time at sea. You just kind of do it based upon your sleep cycle and when you're falling asleep, waking up. But you hear a Jassa shout out in the middle of the day at this point. Captain Wedgwood, land ahead. Port possible.
Land?
Land, I said.
The port?
You look out to where
are we looking?
Ajasa is directing your attention. You can see at this point a silhouette of land. After everybody else hearing him yell out that as well, you all make your way up to the deck. It's hard to make out stuff as you approach. There's this kind of slight fog. It obscures your vision slightly. But as you approach, you begin to make out details. You can see a dock that isn't actually made of wood. It's this kind of natural peninsula that has been carved to serve the purpose of a dock. Light stone covered in these long, thick kind of vines and moss that glisten with the water that has kind of been splashed upon them. As you break over this kind of fog, over the vast part of the water, you can see now what lies before you. It's kind of modest port city, not large in size or small, but of decent size. Maybe 1.5 square miles. You can see most of the port from the water, but it sits above you on this naturally kind of upward curvature that the peninsula has. Looking at the peninsula itself, it is kind of this cliff that goes down into the water and begins to break off into even smaller peninsulas, where it's kind of like this broken, so if you're looking at it, it kind of slants downward, and then breaks off, and there's like a smaller peninsula, and they keep doing the same thing to serve as these kind of docks that you can see a few ships that are actually docked at. The ships sit higher than the land, so they're actually like these gangplanks and rope ladders that are sitting down for people to actually, get off. As you can see, there are several kind of very brightly colored birds flying around. You can see the speculum of their wings kind of shimmers in the sunlight. You've seen these before, these lumarin. They're just kind of like this native bird to Felia that's this kind of rainbow colored eagle in a way. It just has very, very bright colors that glisten on the wings of all different colors as well. As you pull into the port to dock, you can see that there are several large fish below, kind of swimming in these large schools. You can see this vibrant colored kind of coral reef below that appears to be teeming with life. Ajasa shouts out, "Prepare to dock!" The crew quickly begins the process as Anders sits at the helm, turning the wheel to begin docking. You can see that it is narrow in this port, and your ship itself is quite large. I need you to make a water vehicle check. Sure. Yes. So roll D20 plus your proficiency, and then I'll let you use your wisdom also. You can roll at advantage.
Oh, no, 17. It was. For wisdom?
Yes.
22.
Plus proficiency. Yeah, that's good enough. You take the helm and actually turn it almost 90 degrees to get onto the dock. The sails kind of get directed in a way that would make the wind just kind of push it back to where it was. You directing the crew easy enough. You're able to dock. You actually watch Trita, the kind of small, slender female Bengaran individual, jump off the side with a rope. And then as she jumps off, there's kind of these large like rock pillars that are serving as kind of like keels, if you would, or posts. As she jumps down, she kind of like doesn't like claw into the side, but grabs the ladder and walks down with like one hand having a rope, ties it around her waist, gets all the way down, and kind of does a quick tie around one of the posts. You watch Ajasa begin to kind of direct Solog, who goes up to the front and grabs the anchor and tosses it. There's one other individual whose name escapes me right now, but the other Solog is the big one. The other one.
We all have names?
Yes. Yiko. Yiko is a small, very slender, wiry built Bengal tiger, Bengaran, who also goes down the edge with a rope and starts to tie off to these pillars. They let down a rope ladder. You don't really have gangplanks in here, it's just a rope ladder on the side. But you are docked. Land is in front of you. And Ajasa approaches.
Did like 15 guards just immediately storm through that? That's where we are, right?
Doesn't appear so. You are in what appears to be Port Vista, though. After you dock, Ajasa approaches you. Captain Wentworth, how long will we be in port? We have been at sea for quite some time, and I'm sure the crew would enjoy some time ashore to enjoy the spoils of Vanore.
I think we're going to be here for quite a while. We just got to travel in. Very sure.
Very well. I've been to Port Vista before. There are no dock fees, if you would. So we will check on the ship from time to time, keep it maintained for as long as you require, keepers. He nods, kind of turns to the rest of the crew.
Do you need anything from us?
Well, if you have a couple 100 gold pieces for us to be here for as long as needed, and then we can just hold on to it, or whatever you have to give. We are paid for the next month or so, so it's not too much of an issue if you don't have it.
Only 150, I guess. We can get some back until we put the next one.
You're 150 gold. Thank you. As they turn around, they begin speaking in Bengaran to each other. Vanore awaits. Let us see what trouble we can get into. They all kind of chuckle and grin as they follow behind him.
Good luck, friends.
They turn, head quickly, just kind of hit their
We get
chest.
arrested because of these fucks. That's what's gonna happen.
Chuckling and grinning as they follow behind him, you can see as they descend the rope ladders that there appear to be very similarly dressed individuals approaching from the distance. Quick question for Nereus. Is Wraith big or small right now?
He needs to be slowed down.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. Just making sure. You can see these individuals approaching wearing a lightly flowing hooded green cloth with kind of these brown leather straps as trim. The top garment kind of hangs a bit, it's kind of like a half robe, sits about thigh high. You can see the bottoms are also this kind of green and baggy material. All of them approach with bows on their backs, arrows in a quiver attached to their side, their hoods up with ears pointing out of the top of them, almost like there's these slits cut in them for the ears to stick out. The one in the front kind of keeps the hood up, but you can see a face as they actually begin to approach whenever you chose to, get down and walk up and over. Is there anything you want to do before you get off and walk over?
No.
Okay.
How long were we still on C4 before we got here? Since I started my checks.
It's probably only like a few days.
Okay.
So it wasn't really. Yeah,
Okay, I just wanted to see how long.
probably like 2 days you'll be able to make another one.
Okay. Yeah.
You want to hold a meeting on talk to these people?
Yeah.
Alright.
Who's all going?
I'm
Everybody
going.
Stay front of the line.
Got it. Alright. As you approach, see the individual in the front keeps the hood up, but you can see the face. It's not like this covering hood. It kind of sits like about here. You can see there's like a little bit of a point to it right here. His face is very gentle. There are very soft features. The hair that peeks through is this kind of golden blonde that's almost white, and it kind of sits at the sides. You can see the sides kind of come down here, and it appears the back is kind of pulled towards the back. Greetings. Welcome to Port Vista.
Oh, nice to meet you.
What brings you to the Redwoods?
Okay, first thing, we're the keepers. It was Zaxria, all of us. Whole group.
Pleasure to meet you, keepers.
I'm Captain Andrew Wetfoot. I gotta shake his hand because he can shake.
Interior. I'm the lawmaster here in the port.
Well, really nice to meet you. We kind of need to get into the Redwoods to talk to the Empress, King, Queen. Is that for sure on the Empress? Okay. Alright.
We were listening in class.
I was too. We need to talk to the Empress. Not one.
Kind of does it quick. Heading into Vanore is not probable. The capital is not too lenient towards letting strangers in. Now you said you are the keepers, but the Empress has a strong opinion with the keepers that she has held on to.
Maybe we can turn from them.
Is there any way we could help out and prove we could be trustworthy or anything like that?
Make a persuasion check.
I will ask.
Right?
What?
Good. Not good.
12 still.
Not bad.
Plus 9. Oh, 12. Yeah. I had to roll the 3. That's pretty good.
Not sure if it will give you in good graces with the Empress, but there are several small tribes that reside in the Redwoods. The closest village to here is Vanore. It's home to the Okia tribe. Them and all of the tribes live in perfect harmony with the nature that surrounds them. We ask that during your time here you do the same and respect our laws. Do not deface, destroy, or take any more than you need. You may use dry or damaged redwood if you so desire. If you're unsure if you should or should not do something, just do not, please. It's best to leave it as is. Any heinous or unlawful acts, as seen in the eyes of Vanore, subject to our ruling and are punishable by death and by any means necessary banishment also.
Completely understandable.
Now, there have been strange things happening with the villages to the southern side of Vanore. Our Empress believes that it's best to have our forces towards the north for some reason. Not sure why. But she hasn't sent anything south. I know that there have been some struggles in the villages that surround Vanore. Vanore is nearly probably 2 or 3 days from here. The closest village, though. There are small tribes that really bear no name to the village, just the name of the tribe that you'll probably run across as well. It's best to just leave them be unless they approach you and respect the land. I assure you that if you do anything, it will be seen by something or someone and will be met with force, at the very least.
We all try to respect the natural world as much as possible.
Many outsiders like to come to the Redwoods, and we've had instances where people have tried to harvest the redwoods and make lumber factories that we were unaware of, but it's been some time since something like that has happened.
And if we would come across anything like that, would you ask for us to stop it, or would you want?
If you see anything that you think is unfit for the laws of Vanore and defacing any sort of nature or destroying it, please do act in the best interest of the land.
Strange happenings.
Rather not speak under the
Yeah,
open.
should we?
Yeah, we're fine. The villages to the south, as I said, have had troubles.
Did he say what his position was?
So he's a lawmaster here at the port.
No, I think north of here, but like south.
South of the capital, yes. Yes. Sorry. I probably clarified a little bit, but we're on the same page now.
Yeah, he just wants us to jump into the water here to deal with the rest of this.
The village of Vanore, the tribe leader, Sulamir, has lived in this continent for years himself. He's traveled pretty much all of Ophelia, never left the continent, but home to Vanore, was in the capital for some time, but left as politics got in the way of what he saw the true intent of Vanore should be. It has remained true, though, to protect the land, keep it safe, and keep what is beneath that bay. You'll know more when you speak with Sulamir in the village, but the Empress has tried to turn a blind eye to it as she has her attentions diverted elsewhere to protect more things. I'll leave you with that, Q, as I really do not wish to say much more than that. I myself respect what you do with a great amount. I've heard of the things that you have been doing, and if you can do something for us here, it would be appreciated. I'm sure Sulamir may be a little hesitant to speak with you at first, as he is old and hardened, but he will open up when he knows that you are there to help.
Thank you for your help.
There's not much here in the port. There's a small tavern. They don't really sell too much ale. It's primarily wine. But also, there is small little fish vendors. There's really not too much you're going to find, though. There is a little bit of a merchant, if you would, that will buy goods that people wish to import. He exports some of our goods as well, but for the most part.
You guys have any sort of manufacturing for ships or anything?
Not really. Most of our ships are made within the Riptide Bay and sent out. The Vanore carpenter and boat builder usually deal with that. If there's anything I can do, I'll be patrolling around.
What time is it?
Right now, it's probably only like 10 in the morning. Yep.
Maybe on this map here, just like mark Vanore.
Certainly. He just kind of points. So Port Vestra right there, you see where it kind of goes into that little bit of a cove on the right of it. Just a little north of that, right before it gets to like the dark green.
Okay.
Vanore is right there. You can just put like a little dot there with a marker, or not a marker or a pen, either one. Whatever you think's gonna show up the best. Yep. Shit, a little bit. Alrighty.
What does he mean by what lies below?
I
have a few ideas.
Some things that we learned in our history class. Supposedly, the elves protect the Evertree, which keep the drow at bay.
We learned that in history?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not sure you were listening.
Didn't you fail all your exams?
I think I did. I think a couple of them I might have got a little bit.
Did you copy off of me?
We don't
know. You would have gotten 100.
Yeah.
Sure.
Although if you couldn't read it might be possible.
What's going on here? I'm a keeper, okay? That's all that matters. We're here and we're.
True, you are the cat. Well, we're on land. You're no longer the cat. You're still the cat.
Point. Okay, it was a lot easier to get access into this place than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, we don't have access into this place, and I bet everybody's going to really be on guard against us.
Yeah, that's probably.
Well, I didn't think. To be honest with you, I didn't even think we were getting in the first day. I thought we were going to have to
Turn around, park on the water.
Maybe.
That I have no idea.
They're just very close off. I don't, probably for their own safety, they don't protect their trees. I haven't studied them too much.
Probably sort of how Zosh was. Probably much
kind of isolated.
Involvement.
Zosh seems to be pretty welcoming for the most part, but like they're mostly just separated by land.
I think I remember hearing something that like before they didn't like the keepers, or like they didn't care for the keepers.
Nobody really did, I guess.
More like I'm gonna be honest, the keepers actually do it.
I don't know before.
They're just fucking shit in the keep. No, what's going on here? Oh, I'm saying. Yeah, the keepers didn't really help 90% of the place, but like,
except for like the first.
You have been told to like the first and second generation of that generation of keepers, like the only ones that did fuck all.
Yeah, that's the punch old.
The only place that Punk's good about the keepers is the keep. So I'm just thinking maybe they were just keepers of the keep.
That's why we don't have like ID badges.
You don't want everyone to know where the keepers. Do we want to stay at the tavern for a day? Because nobody's slept in a bed in a while.
We have to sleep on the forest floor. Like that.
Everybody's not.
It's like 10 a.m. We don't know. We can get a head start and get like one day in.
Say that there was somebody at the port that buys goods. Do you want to try and get rid of that excess jewelry or whatnot?
Oh yeah, we can try and sell that off. I don't know if we'll get this much if we're not in the capital city, but
I just don't know what people buy around here.
that's true. Hopefully they are much less of Bard's wares than Zash was, because man, that was one of the stuff to trade.
What about you two? What do you guys want to do?
I can sleep anywhere.
See, first floor. That's 2 votes.
Hey,
why would you even ask? He's gonna say hammock. That's basically the forest floor. That's 3 votes. We do need to go. Let's go to that shop. See what they can do.
Okay.
Maybe we can find something to make our crank for our anchor.
Maybe.
I don't think so. What's up? He's okay. Doesn't seem like he's probably just happy to be on land, to be honest. Are you there?
I'm just scared what happened a while ago.
Although you're not going to agree.
Yeah, he's
Oh.
pretty far away. No, he's staying at the dock.
Like,
Yeah,
are
he
you
does.
like ominous? Like we can't see your facial features. You're dead staring at us. Looking at the water.
Claws out, just fucking staring at us, saying nothing. It's like, okay.
She got piercing eyes.
Maybe Zarbrix has a point.
He's like finally close to my target.
He's actually just here to cut down trees. He's been this whole time.
I'm gonna walk over to him. Just like come down. Hey, Apex, all right? Are you just speechless that you're on land again? Would you rather be back on the water? You not like the Redwoods? Is that what it is?
Scared of trees.
The jungle is full of trees. Right, well, would you be more comfortable waiting here? We're just gonna go and talk to some person who owns the shop. Okay. Well, no rush. Do what you feel comfortable doing. Alright. Be at that shop. I don't actually know where it is or what it's called. See ya. I walk back towards the room.
Mm-hmm. How are you doing?
I think he's okay. I don't know. I can't really read Apex as much as I can read the rest of it.
Are we all going to the shop?
Yep.
Alrighty. So, as you begin walking through this port, there is very, very lush grass. It's not very tall, but it doesn't seem traversed very much. A lot of everything around you is very untouched and kind of sitting in the place in which it was originally, grown. The trees there are randomly scattered throughout here. Have never been cut down, it appears. There does appear to be some sort of a stump in the distance, but it looks like a tree that may have broken or fallen down. You can't see the actual tree that broke or fell down, though. There are probably only about 4 or 5 buildings in this actual small port here. The buildings are of pretty decent size, though, and you can see that the wood is kind of this deep reddish color. It appears to probably be from the redwoods, maybe trees that have fallen down or what have you. But they appear to actually use the redwood trees like when they can. Some of the buildings, however, though, are this kind of light colored wood, maybe like a cedar. But not everything is of the same look, but they all have the same kind of architecture to them. Just the material that's used is different. There's kind of these very curved kind of points to the roofs themselves. There's no really crazy eccentric designs to any of the architecture. Like there's no embroidery or carvings or anything of that nature. Buildings are just kind of serving the purpose of shelter for the most part. You do see one of the buildings kind of catches your attention. It has these windows out towards the front. There is not a sign, but kind of I guess it would be a sign, just kind of letters above it that just says merchant on there. And then there's another sign that's kind of right next to it that just says Dion, Deon. Not sure if it's a name or what it is, but that's kind of over in the distance.
Because I'm there. To the merchant, it's really straightforward. I know exactly what that building is for. That one next to it, though, no idea.
One side. Okay. You make your way inside? Yep. What's up? You look like you had something to say.
Thought about it.
Alright. Those signs are on the same building.
Oh,
Yeah, it's merchant, and then there's an extra sign that was like kind of built on that says Dion.
merchant.
You make your way inside. There is no bell. The door just kind of opens up as you enter. As you get inside, you can see the interior is pretty well kept. There is an assortment of goods in here: ropes, empty barrels, empty crates, long kind of iron strips. There appears to be long bits of chain. There are a couple of kind of broken like wooden anchors that are in a corner. Also, there appears to be like a small section of just like boating supplies. You can also see these long kind of bits of what I imagine probably are like sails that are just kind of rolled up. You can also see towards the sides there are just random goods like some sorts of like vegetables, fruits, backpacks, bedrolls, cloths, leathers, just a random assortment of a bunch of stuff in here of like pretty decent quality. Nothing's like destroyed and tattered that he's trying to sell. But it almost appears to be some sort of like I don't want to say a pawn shop because you can't really just pawn stuff here, but it's just like kind of like a buy and sell type of building. General goods in a way, but there's more than just general stuff in here. Nothing like that in here though. Doesn't appear to be potions. There are herbs and stuff that you can see on the walls. There are a couple of blades that are sitting around, but they all appear to just be pretty mundane weapons. There is some leather armor that's kind of sitting around, a very, very elven look to it. There are some like hoods and cowls. There are several bows that are just kind of like hanging above this back counter that you can see. The counter itself has a lot of silver jewelry in it. None of it appears to be gold in any way. There's like rings, silver rings, necklaces, pendants, bracelets, things of that nature. You don't really see anybody yet. You're just kind of looking around in the shop before a few minutes pass. Individual makes his way in. You can see an actual human male. It appears to be probably mid-40s or so, very clean shaven, brown hair that's very well kept. He has on a kind of burgundy colored button up that is almost like flannel material, but it is just this solid kind of burgundy color, and then these deep brown kind of pants that appear to be some form of a cloth or something of the sort. Hello, welcome. Anything I can do for you?
Do you buy and sell goods here?
I do. Depends on what it is, but for the most part, we can usually find a price for whatever you're trying to get rid of or buy. Nothing's really set in stone. Anything in particular you're trying to sell or buy?
You don't happen to have like any gears or anything, do you?
Gears. I don't even know what a gear is, to be honest.
It's like a like a wagon wheel how it has spokes.
Okay.
Kind of like that, but like usually made out of like stone or metal. And without the outer ring.
I do have a small box here that has random metal scraps put in it that I've bought over the years. You might have some luck in there.
Can I see that box?
Yeah, the boating supplies is just the far right side of it. If you see where all those masks and stuff are, it's just at this closest end.
Look through that, they'll
Look
see
through
what's
the box.
Make an investigation.
Alright, so I'm gonna take out this 100 gold pieces worth of jewelry that I got.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, that's just what I wrote down.
Alright, go ahead and roll just like a D100 for me. Just roll like a D10 and then the other one to get like a percentage.
83.
Alright. 83% of the jewelry is silver. So the other part of it is gold. As you kind of take and set it up onto the counter. Alright, well, got a pretty good amount here. All of the gold though, you can hold on to that. We don't really. Yeah, Elven, they're not really too keen on gold here. I'm not sure why. They like their silver jewelry for the most part. Couldn't tell you why. For the jewelry here though, I'll give you 83 gold pieces. Gold piece per jewelry. Alright.
Could we like maybe put it towards whatever if my friend finds anything?
Investigation.
13.
13. Okay. You find quite a bit of like scrap metal in here. It's almost like another man's junk is another man's treasure for you. So you're kind of looking at a lot of stuff like, oh, I could use this for this and this for this and this for this. You don't find any like large gears. You find probably about 5 or so that are about this big, but none of them are extremely large. You also find a large metal kind of like pole that has what appears to be some sort of a knob or something at the top. Like it's like a broken lever. The bottom part of it though is like bent and kind of snapped. There's also various bits of scrap metal in there. Like there's like
I'm gonna bring the whole crate over.
Yeah, okay. It's extremely heavy.
I'm fucking swole, dude.
Make a strength check.
Landed. Strength?
Yes.
17. Straight as my bitch.
This crate is so good at picking up crates. Take and kind of grab. You're used to moving heavy crates across, wood and stuff in the ship. So you're grabbing it and pulling it. Between Zarbrax and Moldrak, they can see kind of like you're not doing great with it. Like you're not taking it. They just kind of grab and pull it and move it over. There's probably at least 70 pounds of metal in this box.
Okay, then maybe I overestimated it.
It's a pretty good sized box. It's like this long rectangular crate that's just full of metal scraps.
Okay, see, when you first was saying all that, I was just like, just buy everything in here, but 70 pounds is a little rough.
Okay, how much for this entire crate?
The whole crate? People don't really come in here too much looking for it, so I give you the whole thing for like 100, 125 gold pieces.
Do like 90?
Make a persuasion.
Nice of that. Plus, it's actually -1, so 15.
90 gold in the next 15 seconds, and it's yours.
90 gold?
You're at 83 right now, right?
Sure, so just give me 7 more gold pieces and then it's jewelry, and
I
we
just
call it even.
I grab a handful out of the bag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Takes the jewelry. Actually takes the jewelry and puts it in a small like leather pouch that you can see hanging on the counter. Kind of sets it there. Takes the gold and puts that underneath the counter as well. Congratulations. You're now the owner of 70 pounds of junk metal.
You carrying that to the ship?
Yes, he is.
If you want me to.
You couldn't even get it to the counter.
I didn't want to waste all my strength pushing it to the counter.
Sure, I only have to spend 7 gold.
Anything else I can interest you in?
Probably not. I don't think so. Don't have any healing potions, do you?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Not
begin.
really, much of any of that you'll find in.
I'm gonna begin dragging the crate back by
Unless you
myself.
have like a crank for an anchor or something.
Yeah,
We
you
just
have a
did.
crane for an anchor.
Oh, I happen to have a piston.
Picks up a 20 gold.
Would you take 50 pounds of scrap metal?
It's like, but I give you 70. We might need 20.
Alrighty. Make your strength check if you're trying to bring it back.
Fuck, it's worse.
Much of the weight, but
10.
You can't pick it up.
I'm gonna laugh.
You are struggling.
I'm gonna just laugh.
You're struggling. You can slide it, but you can't. You can slide it, but you can't pick it up.
I was gonna just slide it to the door and then pick it up and then carry it to the ship. But if you want to help me, that's really nice of you, and I'll take your help. That's who you guys want to do that. I know you didn't really say you wanted to help, but you were already helping. So
I mean, I paid for it. You're gonna make me carry it.
me and I can carry it with Zarbrax if you want. That's fine.
That's fine. I'll carry it.
Okay. Thank you.
It'll be easier if just.
It is long, so it's kind of difficult to like reach your hands and carry it. So the two of you easily lift it up. And mean, like, you guys even probably have, like, one hand on it as you're, like, carrying it.
As they're leaving, I'm just going to talk to him really quick. So, Dion, right?
Right.
Connor?
Nice to meet you.
We heard from the Lawmaster and Tyrion here that there's some issues going on down in the south.
Who exactly are you, Connor?
You can't just ask him if he's having problems down south.
Not you. I said, I'm not Vanore. The whole. We're the keepers.
Alright. Yeah, every now and then. I don't actually live in those villages up there too much. I pretty much stayed for a while.
Have you heard anything about what might be going on? It was very vague.
Every now and then, guards talk in the tavern. Nothing too much. I try to stay to myself and mind my own business.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Just trying to get an idea so we can help the best we can.
It's mighty kind of you.
Sorry.
For our own game, actually.
But like our own games, like
Wait a minute.
Thanks. Wait a minute.
Oh man, that's fucking gold. Just says it's more like, wait a minute. They just stop carrying it. If I hear anything though, I'd let you know. And I was going to say, if anybody knows anything, it's in Tyrion. So whatever he sent you towards is probably the right direction.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Good luck with those issues.
Pretty sure it's an issue.
It would be like the magic user that would try to sell something like that. This magical pill. Alrighty.
Andrew would buy it 100%.
Damn.
He's already bought hair growth supplements.
Which has worked. Andrew has a full beard. And some hair on his nose that he had to shave.
He keeps growing to keep shaving it.
He has a nice full beard. It's a little unkempt right now, for sure, but it's a full beard.
Captain Wet Beard. Okay. That's uncalled for. We're probably just going to carry them out of the ship and come back later.
Yep.
Is Apex on the ship? Oh yeah, is Apex on the ship?
Maybe still staying at the end of the dock, yeah. Still in the same spot.
I was really thinking about that.
We just
Apex.
stand there.
You want some scrap metal? You have a lot of it.
Need some scrap metal for anything? Like a crank? A crank for an anchor? That's what I need it for. I don't know if you also need it for that or something. I don't know.
You want a chair? You've been standing there for a while. You want like a hammock?
Hey, we got hammocks on the boat. He can go
Yeah.
just.
You want me to set one up between these two stone posts? You look like your legs are getting.
I think. Are we?
You don't seem like you're fine, Apex. Okay.
What are you flying?
I'll give you that one. You'd only ask about your legs.
I don't know. That's not a good sign.
Do you want us to help you?
I was like, okay.
Why not?
If it involves spilling the blood of your enemies, I might be able to help.
Is it this place specifically that's causing issues? No? Okay. I'll rule that out. I'm gonna put this metal on the ship. Probably gonna have to hoist it up somehow. We don't take
You have a rope ladder?
Yeah,
Okay.
rope ladder. I go behind Moldrak. I cast fly out.
Shit.
I do, like I got it. I do kicky legs and
You don't have to do that. You can just focus.
Okay. This is cooler.
Just slowly, like,
Swimming through the air.
but you get up there easily. You put the metal wherever you choose inside.
I'll just put it like
Okay.
I'm gonna fly like kind of out into the water and like
I stopped
to look at the front of me.
concentration.
Oh really? Well, right as I go to like I go over to like the front of Apex, I just fall in the water.
Flying. You are covered in water.
Get up here, Moldrak. Come on.
That wasn't very nice.
You watch Moldrak go in front of you and like go to get, and then he just.
Does he have like a demon?
Make a perception check.
Wait, what, did he smile at least? A little chuckle?
Yeah, creepy smile. Oh man, a 2 and a 3? That still puts me at 11.
That's normal. Just kind of has a blank stare.
So we want to get going. Go to the tavern.
Write these names down.
Me?
Yes, so you know the name of your crew people.
Oh, I can give them to you if you want.
I don't need to know.
Name them.
You do.
Name all 4 of them.
I don't even.
I just want you to have it so.
Hey, guy.
Meanwhile, Giselle.
Okay, give me their name.
So,
Ajasa.
oh yeah.
Give me a second. Shit.
You said okay. I thought you were ready.
I don't even. Do I have notes? Okay, I do have notes at some point. I was doing something right.
Ajasa. That's the Black Panther. He's like the
I know it starts with an A.
leader.
Ajasa.
AHJASSA.
Run that one more time.
AHJASSA.
I was started doing that in all caps for some reason.
You got that one?
Down.
Okay. And then Yeeko. YEEKO.
Cool name.
Treatla. TREETLA.
Whoa, that's my favorite.
Yeah, it is.
You're
I've got it right
Frida.
here.
That's
It's
what
a
he,
T.
that's what he said already.
I promise you it's Treatla.
I'm gonna go
You
back.
might have heard it where
I'm
it was
gonna
his
go-
accent.
I'm
Go
gonna
back.
watch- I'm
Yeah.
gonna watch the live.
You let me know.
Treatla?
Treatla. TREETLA.
Definitely.
It's not free.
Tomato tiger, monk's bow clothes.
Free toe.
And then Solog. SOLOG.
Oh. I didn't spell that one right either.
SOLOG. Solog.
I did
The
spell
large
it,
lion
I think.
Garn individual.
I'm gonna fuck these names up when I go to say it to the people, but I'll be close.
Yeah. At least you'll be close and I'll be like, hey, you.
I probably will still do that.
Stop. Help him along.
Alright, so what are we? Tavern? Tavern, are we going to find, or go find this village, tribe?
Between me and you, don't worry about Apex. Last time we left him alone.
You're gonna.
I don't care.
Yeah, what are we gonna do? He's come with us. He can't stay here. It's not allowed.
Did you say you found him in the forest?
I did, yeah.
There's a lot of forest in there. What did you lose?
Well, it was like a jungle. It was like a jungle.
We didn't find him.
Yeah, he was also.
He was given to us. As it. Thank you for saving us.
We probably should do something. He doesn't look okay.
I'm free.
Oh,
Good Apex.
Did you say you're afraid? Okay, I'm
Just really quick. I'll let you guys figure out what you're gonna do. Wait, I almost did one. I didn't do it, Billy. I didn't do it yet.
well.
Sorry for the.
Oh wow.
They couldn't hear you say sorry. So you're
Those
just an
survive.
asshole. We kill him. Oh wait, he's right there. Okay. What can we do is the question.
I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with him. He doesn't want to tell me.
He told me.
You're still Apex, right?
He told me he didn't know.
Apex?
I think he's there. I think he's there. I hope he's there. He was there a minute ago. I just talked to him.
Apex?
Are you depressed?
I don't think asking somebody if they're depressed will
Works.
give you an answer.
Never been depressed.
You have.
Ask me right now.
Depressed.
I got some diagrams. Brandon.
Okay. It's up to
Yes.
you. Cool. Fine with that.
What's the plan?
Just like
You grabbed a spray, you
I
grabbed
just like
one?
poke Apex on the shoulder.
Yeah, that definitely came up. It's gonna burn house, but
Yeah.
Apex!
I'm like tapping him on the shoulder. Trying to do it all that.
they're definitely trying to talk to you.
Oh. Slowly rest my hand on the shoulder. Are you going to leave? Oh, I mean, I know you're not all right, but what can we? I know you said we couldn't do anything, but like, what can we do? You're still you, right?
You want to go for a swim?
So
You seem to be enjoying the feel of the water. Maybe taking a dip would help you.
it's very refreshing. Us just. No. Oh, jeez. That what you're saying about? No. Okay.
You know what's like to have someone in the high post telling you to kill, maim, I don't want it. Very nice, but
Want to get rid of it?
I'm going home.
Okay. Well,
I'll see my family.
we can. I don't know where they are, but I consider you part of our family.
When was the last time you saw your family? Don't say anything.
I think he only answers to Moldrek.
Yeah, send a message to Rex. Really quiet. Don't bring that up. You know it came from me.
What?
Fuck.
Everybody just.
I miss my family too. I haven't seen my family in almost 10 years.
Yeah, me also. We were just in Southbrook. You literally just talked to your.
Yeah, but like,
Wasn't funny. Okay. Hold it.
what you're going through, Apex. But I don't know. The people of the Redwoods have been alive for a very long time. If there's anybody who could help, maybe it's them.
I'll also find out.
Still do need a plan on what we're doing. Are we just skipping the tavern?
I don't think.
Can we eat anything from there? Food? We have food?
When, I guess we don't really need to ask around. We already have where we're going.
Other food as well.
A bunch.
Sure. Don't gather too much.
Yeah, that's true. And you're looking.
Executed, however they do that.
Do you think you could get us to where we need to go?
No.
Okay. Oh.
Well, you did a pretty good job. You got us a few places. I mean, nothing really. Still have our ship.
Only had to listen to my navigation and we would have been here with no issues.
What's going on here? Huh? Why is there? What are you guys talking about? Hey.
So we're just gonna leave him here?
No, he's got to come with us. We need him.
Apex, can you come with us?
Apex, can you come with us?
The answer to that is some funny shit.
At least for now, Apex. We'll try and, I promise you, we'll try and find a way to help you. If it's truly what you want to go home, then I will find a way to bring you back there. Let's go, guys. Roll out.
Is that even the correct dirt? Okay, we're just.
It's fine. I'll steer him as we go.
Alrighty. As you begin venturing more towards the redwoods, you're pretty much on the. I mean, the forest is just constantly surrounding you. So you're kind of on the edge of it, being here kind of by the beach. Probably only about 200 or so feet before you're actually within the forest. And then the second you get in the forest, you kind of all stop for a second and just kind of look around. You can see the trees that are they're like 20, at least 20 feet tall, but on the tall end, like actually no, sorry, I read that wrong. They're at least 80 feet tall at the smallest height. All of the redwood trees are. The trunks themselves are about 20 or so feet in diameter. The bark has these kind of large grooves upon them that form this kind of beautiful sight of such large, kind of intricate detail. You can see large amounts of animals roaming the fields that they kind of sit between these clearings of the trees where there's these small little meadows. Once they catch a sight of you, though, they quickly run off, and this happens several times. This place is just teeming with life. There are wildflowers that are kind of beautifully growing all over the forest ground. You can see small little creatures even skittering across that move kind of so quick that it's hard to even make out what they are. There are birds flying around everywhere. Those kind of lumeron are everywhere as well, just kind of even sitting, roosting up inside of the trees. There is a bit of time that passes, probably a good 5 or so hours, maybe 6, where you're just walking kind of in the direction of where you believe Vanore to be. As you kind of walk through, you constantly feel like you're being watched in the forest. You didn't really get this feeling before when you guys were here originally for that short bit of time, but you constantly feel like you have eyes on you. And you kind of look around to see if there's anything about, and there's creatures and things everywhere, so it's maybe where you're getting the feeling from, but you kind of have this feeling of something just constantly overwatching you. Or it could just all be in your head from him telling you not to do anything because somebody's going to see. But nonetheless, you are able to make your way further into the forest, actually to a point where you find it's probably best to take rest for the night, and you're probably only a day or two, maybe less, from Feanor itself. So you get all your stuff out, bedrolls, what have you, and you can see the forest slowly starting to get darker. It's not really like calming down in any way. It's just a different kind of life that is coming to it at night. Getting everything kind of picked up and brought down. It is probably about 8 o'clock by the time you begin to lay down to fall asleep. As you lay down and kind of sit, there's probably like 3 or so minutes of time where you're kind of all sitting around a fire if you want one. Are we starting a fire or are we just sitting without one?
How if we use materials? Can I gather enough like scrap wood without having to harm any of the trees?
Yeah, easily. Like branches that have fallen and things. I mean, some of the branches are like the size of some trees that you see.
I'll just kind of like dig in the dirt a little bit, like a circle around it, just so that it can't really spread that easily.
Got it.
I'll start
Alright. So as you gather the wood and everything, about by that time, everybody's just kind of sitting around in this circle. And before you actually like light the fire, you look around and there's 3 minutes of just kind of nothing but darkness. You're kind of looking around with your dark vision. There is like noise. You can hear like creatures and stuff making noise. The occasional like bug kind of buzzes by. The forest itself kind of lights up again in this strange kind of neon kind of colors. You didn't see it when you were in here before last time in the Redwoods. This sort of patch of forest that you're in, you can see that there is a lot of kind of mushrooms and this kind of strange vines that are all over the place that you're not looking at. They're kind of like this hollow, like translucent look to them that have like this small stem that goes through the center. Where at night it seems like everything just kind of lights up. It's not like this bright light, but it's just kind of this dull glow to a lot of stuff that's around you in the spot you're in. You start the fire up with no problem, and you can still see there's like a faint glow to it, but it's kind of dulled by the fire itself. It is a little chilly this time of year, but you are kind of a little more south, nothing too drastic, but south enough to where it's not nearly as cold as it is up. And the trees also give shelter to a lot of like the elements. Everybody falls asleep. You haven't really expended anything, but if you did, you gain it back, luck, whatever have you used, and you wake up in the morning to head to Feanor. Anything you want to do before leaving?
Sure, the fire's out. Cover it with like dirt.
Wow.
It's our fault.
Alrighty. Begin making your way deeper into the Redwoods. You're kind of more on an eastern type of path right now. You can see that there is, with your kind of keen survival, there is somewhat of a path. I want to say it's been traversed very, very heavily, but much of the Redwoods, which you've seen before, is a lot like very untouched. There's not a lot of foot traffic that goes through, but you can see that there is kind of this central path every now and then that appears again, which makes you feel like you're heading in the right direction as people probably make their way over here from the port city or from Vanore to the port or even to Vanore itself. But there is a little bit of foot traffic that's going through here. Make a survival check for me. 15? Okay. You can see, like, looking at the foot traffic, that it appears to be humanoid for sure. It doesn't appear to be beast-like in any way. Bipedal. It's just moving around. And it's probably a couple of days old at most. But make your way over. Keep following that kind of path. Before you actually can see in actual redwoods itself, there is this moment where you kind of walk and you're thinking to yourself like, we should probably be here about now, and you probably walk a little further thinking the same thing. Probably a good minute or two of you walking, kind of looking around, before your attention gets brought upward to what you can see from the side of the tree, where there is this kind of ladder that's been placed. There are these small homes that are actually lifted up off the ground, kind of almost Ewok style, if you would. These houses, but they're not very very large either. They're just kind of these little modest, probably like little 1-bedroom homes that are sitting up. Probably about a dozen or so of them all throughout, and these bridges that connect each of them. You can see moss kind of hanging from it, a little bit of sunlight kind of trickling in from the canopy, presenting onto the actual homes and stuff themselves. You can see the village is probably a good 100 or so feet in front of you, but a good 40 feet off the ground.
On the village. Up there. Do I see like a main ladder that goes all the way to the ground?
You actually can see, looking, there's a kind of center tree that's a little larger than the others that has a stairway wrapping around it.
Way up. I don't know if we should like announce ourselves or anything. I guess so.
Yell.
I don't, maybe not.
I think we just go up. I feel like.
Yeah.
Have you guys all been feeling this like we were being watched anyway?
Yep.
I feel like they probably already know we're here.
If they don't, I can talk to them.
Okay.
Harris can probably talk to them.
Oh.
It's our friends. Well, it's our friends. Could talk to them. I'd rather not talk
I'll
to
take the
them.
loop on this one.
Sorry about that.
If there's the chance they speak halfling, I got it.
Highly doubt that.
I'm gonna try and take a good look around and see if like there's anybody looking at us, or if I can see anybody like he said, we feel like we're being watched. Go see everybody. 17.
17. You do not see anybody immediately around you or looking at you.
Nobody like up in the trees or anything.
Looking up the trees, you don't see anybody. You can see people walking around over the bridges and stuff in the small village that's there, but other than that, nope.
I'm just gonna walk over to the central area of the main tree and just look for somebody.
All right, where you are, when you guys take probably about 5 steps before you kind of feel like this, and look in front of you to see arrows kind of sticking in the ground. You watch around in the bushes. A couple of people just kind of stick their heads up. They don't appear to be jumping towards you or anything. They just kind of stand ready.
We'll say out in Elvish just so they kind of understand right off the bat. We mean no harm. We're the keepers. We were told by the port law master that you guys have been having some issues and we wanted to help. That's fine, 25.
You watch the individuals that were on the sides in the bushes. You kind of hear a little faint and then they kind of duck down and disappear. You see somebody walking from the central kind of staircase that's there. They have on this kind of leafy, viney, green large robe on that they begin to walk down the steps with. And as they get down all the way to the bottom, you can see a couple of the individuals are making their way out from the sides of the bushes back into the village. They have bows, and you can actually see kind of behind you, a couple of people that have made their way up. There's probably about 20 or so people around that were just very, very well hidden that have made themselves back towards the actual village itself. Stepping towards you, though, the individual with a large kind of green robe on has this bright white hair. You can actually see the age in the individual, this elven individual. About a medium length goatee, probably comes to about the middle of the throat. You can see the hair itself is long but thin. The features, as I said, they have some age to them. Not really sure how old the individual is, but you imagine quite old. Walks up towards you, still has some strength to them, even in their old age. They don't appear to be having any assistance with their walking, like a cane or anything of that sort. But as they get probably a good 50 or so feet from you, speaks out in Elvish again, as he, not really sure if he knows common or not, but he heard you speak in Elvish, so he speaks out. Who are you? What are you doing here?
As I said before, we were the keepers of Zaxria. We were explained to by Antirion, the lawmaster at the port, that there have been some issues going on with the tribes over in the southern part of Redwoods. We just want to help.
And looks amongst all of you. Takes a moment looking at Neris, a little longer.
My name is Connor. Just go for each person. Moldrak, Ander, Apex, Zybrax, Dennis.
I respect you using your native tongue, at least. No. Some of your friends look a little puzzled. They do not understand.
Yeah, there's only a few of us that understand this tongue.
Well, at the very least, let me welcome you into the village. Discuss more if your help is truly needed. We've been doing fine on our own thus far. We appreciate the sentiment. Please. He kind of turns as he gestures towards the village, walking up the steps.
We can like bad stares from everyone. Or
Make an insight check. These guys aren't elves. Look them.
19.
19. They definitely don't seem too happy about you being here. They stare very, very long and hard at Moldrak and Zarbrax more than anyone. Not sure why, but they do. But for the most part, it's kind of just like this hard on look of like, what are you doing here? Why are you in our home? Some people really don't pay you much mind. And the way that Silomir was a little standoffish, but doesn't seem to care too much. I imagine you're probably not the first people he's seen come through here, but some people kind of stare also like you are the first people they've probably seen come through here, so it is a little different for them. I think I heard it over here. It's gone forever. Oh, speaking of which, I have 2 dice that were up here. They were yours? Okay.
I imagine that there's a pretty frequent thing of me finding dice and then it's right by your foot.
Me?
Yeah, go like forward, right?
I got it.
Yep. Perfect.
Oh, these socks are good for grabbing
Just
stuff.
like slide it really hard this way.
Towards you.
Yep.
That's the one thing you should do.
It's now by you. You kick it this direction.
Alright. Did you make it in?
Maybe like.
At least none of them fell.
You make your way up the stairs. You can see the stairs themselves are these large, probably 3 or 4 inch thick planks that have been pretty much cut from the redwood trees. It looks extremely natural with it, other than the fact that there's stairs on the side of a tree. It flows very well and blends very well with it. It doesn't look very gaudy. And it doesn't look like they were trying too hard to make it blend naturally, but everything flows very, very well. Right. The railing itself is just this kind of silver kind of metal that goes down into the planks themselves. Making your way up, you can see that this large central tree that has the staircase leading up. There's also this large central area where you can see several small tables, and there's also a big table over towards the back. This appears to be some sort of probably area for just day-to-day things for people. Maybe they have meals and stuff here together as well. But you watch him go over, to the large table on the far side. That's kind of like this central table that's a little elevated on a platform. Appears to be some form of a seat for a leader here. Doesn't really gesture for you to sit. He just kind of goes and sits at the small table himself. Kind of leans back in the chair. You can see him relaxed to be kind of sitting. Are you hungry? Do you wish food, water, anything?
Elvish or common?
Elvish.
We're fine.
Really
We actually camped not too far from here last night, so we're still this morning.
I hope you took nothing from the trees.
Nothing.
Good.
That's all this wood.
Create our own substance.
I'm not going to apologize for it, but the way we are is for good reason. Dealt with times where people don't really have much respect for nature or these trees, these woods, for that matter.
Completely understand. Why would we go somewhere and not respect their values?
Make a persuasion check really quick.
Oh, just in case. Alright. 18.
How do we do this talking thing? Weird.
I have heard several tales of the new keepers of Zaxria. It's this new generation that's come through. I'm sure that your precious keep and its teachers have not told you anything of previous generations and why Vanore is not too accepting of your.
No, they didn't really tell us much. We did some digging of our own. We figured out that not much was really done between the first and second and us. Around why Vanore is against stuff.
It's several centuries of neglect to our continent, but our nation and our goals here. Come across many hardships of our own aside from the eradication and dealt with things solely by ourselves, primarily because of what the keep deemed more important. But that's beside the matter. You seem reasonable, and I've heard more of things you've done than all the generations before you combined, so there's something in that, I guess. Word of you traveling to Arkest, to Azash, has even made its way this way. So knowing you're willing to travel that far, I guess, means something. There are other things that the Empress kind of holds more personal, if you would, as to why she's not too fond of the keep. But This for her and her alone.
Understandable. I mean, everybody has their own way they want to look at things, and that's completely up to them. Now, is there anything that we could help with?
Let me ask this first. I'm sure that you didn't hear from all the way at the keep or whoever it was you just were that we were in trouble and that's what brought you here. I'm sure your first hearing of it was probably when you reached port. Am I wrong? All right.
You are completely correct.
What originally brought you to the Redwoods then?
Wanted to speak with the Empress, and in case there's any sort of huge evil outbreak or anything like that, that we would be able to gain the help of the people of Vanore and the Redwoods. And that's why we have been going on and helping everybody we can, and hopefully, maybe it would get paid back, maybe not. It's not really a thing of that we're counting on, but it's just something that we would like to gain the trust of others. If we see somebody that needs help, we help them. It's easy as that.
You've been faring fine thus far with our issues. Long time ago, even before the eradication, we had a period of time, darkness even, that the keep was not really a part of as it was not formed at the time. But even after the eradication and the keepers had been formed, they still ignored the issues that we had. Ancient war that's dated even before many races had even been placed upon Zaxria itself. We were at war with ourselves. A small segment of our population saw that we were superior, I thought we were at least, tried to gain power and found a dark and evil deity to try to do so from. Altered them and changed the way that they think and see things, and even the way that they are born into culture. Their way of life is completely different from ours. Many people, especially even people within this village, will deny their existence is even real. But we've seen them recently. Yes. There have been no words of attacks or anything of the sort, but people say they've been spotting them. Roaming.
How would they get to the surface? Are there entrances around here?
We're not too sure. Do know that, based upon what historians have told us in our history, is that they dwell beneath the surface in the Underdark. A vast and possibly even larger landscape than the surface above. Miles and miles of darkness and tunnels and caverns, and it's out of my knowledge, but I remember a time when I was young. I do remember a time when I was young and the drow were actually prevalent. I myself, seeing them, knowing that they were real, try to at least give the knowledge to the young that come through here, and it is very real. That the kingdom of Vanore serves more of a purpose than just protecting the trees and the land. There's a font of power inside of Vanore, in the capital, the Evertree. keeps the drow at bay. Now, Interion has been here recently, spoke with me. We've discussed matters of the Evertree and why we think that the drow have kind of been resurfacing.
Sky.
We believe so. It's the only thing that makes sense.
How did you know that?
This is the only thing that makes sense.
I don't know how there would be a way to repair something like that.
The tree is dying.
There are several stories of which we have heard of how to do so. One of which is the only one that makes sense to me, but the only way to gain access to such a place is through the individuals that guard the Evertree and the Empress herself, the Fey. They're creatures of immense power. They have no gender. They are strong and a very mysterious group of individuals. There are only 4 that reside within the actual kingdom itself. The Empress, I'm sure, is denying the fact that the tree is dying, and the Fae itself is protected and supposed to be untouched. Traveling there is dangerous and can also be detrimental to the Redwoods if the wrong thing occurs there. There is a river within the Fae. It has no name. But you know it when you see it, as it glistens with purple and kind of greenish energy. It's an area of absolute power. The river is said to kind of be the life force of the tree itself. Even just a small bit of water, a drop from that river, poured upon the roots of the tree could restore it back to its life for another several centuries. I'm sure the Empress is actually just unknowing to the fact that the tree, like everything else that lives, dies eventually. Thousands of years it sat there. She's diverted many of the forces to the north. That's where a brute amount of all of the drow came from originally when they first attacked. So I'm sure that she's actually trying to plan for some sort of an attack. As I said, the only way to the Feywild is through the Fey. They can create portals that send you there. But I'm sure the Empress won't be too keen on that. They're trying to find ways of gaining access myself. There's a door in the far west of the Redwoods, kind of northwest from here. It's probably about a week or so travel. There are creatures that dwell in the forest that I'd be wary of, but for the most part, everything within you will leave you alone as long as you do the same. Not sure how to access this door, but it has been told to be a gateway into the Feywild. It's been sealed and has been sealed for many, many years. The Empress herself sealed it when she first took power after her father had passed. They sealed the door in order to make sure that nothing would ever enter there again and to keep the Feywild protected, leaving the only way to gain access through the Fey. If you're able to get to this door, find a way to access it. It may upset the Empress, but I feel it is the only way that we're going to be able to get through without trying to get the Fey to do it. She suspects that we're trying to get to the Feywild. I'm sure that she will not be too happy. Not trying to undermine her in any way, but this is one of those situations where sometimes, I don't want to say treason, but being disobedient is being loyal. I'm loyal to this land, to protecting it. And if the Evertree dies and the drow resurface, I'm sure that they've had years upon years of preparation and are able to do a lot worse than they did the first time. If you're unable to gain access to the door, or if the door is not what it says it is, I'd seek out the Empress. I've never seen it myself. It is to the far west, though. There is a river that runs through from Vanore. If you're unable to find the river itself, you can make the long journey to the east and try to find the Dread River and follow that estuary that leads into the actual Redwoods itself all the way west. If you follow the river west, it comes upon a waterfall. Behind that lies the door.
Oh, I deal with them.
Yeah, the only people that don't understand anything is Zaxria, Connor, and Aries.
Doors are right. Like I see one over there. We use that one.
The other tree
It's a door is the thing.
we need to find the river and Feywild as life force basically.
And if we were able to obtain,
I definitely have never heard of the Feywild.
Wisdom check.
if we were able to obtain this water, how would we get it to the other tree? I don't think.
13.
You have heard of it. I think you guys briefly talked about it in your history stuff, but you're not too familiar with it in much of a way. You know that you draw a small amount of power from it, just not too sure how or why.
The book that kind of talked about the different worlds. Did it explain the Feywild as a different world as well, or was it this?
It did not.
This plane.
It explained it as like a mirroring plane of like power that kind of feeds into the material plane.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks for coming, guys.
Don't smoke that can.
Next week.
Punch that camera right in the face.
Right in the face.
Yep. See you guys next week.
See you next week.
Yep. Have fun. Drive safe.
The only people giving us info are leaving. We're just gonna be standing here.
Here.
Oh my god.
If you acquire the water, leave the rest to me. I will try to bring it. I fear, though, that we're already running out of time as some of them have begun to resurface. I've only seen small groups, at least from what my rangers here have reported. I've seen a few. Not really sure if they were elven or dark elven, but they didn't really engage, just talking of what they saw.
During the day or night they were seeing.
Night. I'm not sure how much knowledge the drow have into any of what I've told you. I would fully expect to possibly see some along the way. If they know about the door, there's a chance that that is exactly. So the sooner the better.
Is there anything we should keep an eye out for when encountering the drow if we do?
I myself never
Insight.
fought them in battle or anything. I really was never much of a fighter myself. I served in the kingdom for quite some time as counsel, advisement to Empress's father. I do know that they have a weakness to bright light. Other than that, I'm not too sure. I do know that they are ruthless and quite militant.
Like, Alright. Do we know Maris is like a Theo?
Um,
I don't think she's ever said it.
Yeah, she definitely hasn't.
I don't think she's ever mentioned it, but you know that she is like when she was first introduced, that she's not like a
normal.
She's not like a high elf, like wood elf.
I don't even know she's an elf. Yeah.
This whole time I thought you were human.
We might be able to find a way through that door. Been able to get past some tough situations before. All you need is this. What do you want to like a special vial or just a water skin?
However you can transport it.
Just some water. And then I think we can get that back here.
I think we have to go to the Fae to fight the drow.
Just want to. Said you guys have been doing fine while you're on.
Give them the water.
Is there anything around here that you would need help getting done before we leave?
It's water.
I'm managing quite fine. I appreciate it, though. The quicker the better, probably, for you guys in your task. If you're unable to acquire the water, the next best thing to do, I'd say, would probably be to head north past the city. Try to find wherever the drow are actually surfacing from. See if you can infiltrate and see what's going on beneath. Maybe some way to stop it down there, or at least see what we're dealing with. If you see anything alarming, I'd go straight to the capital and let the Empress know. I'm sure that she is stubborn. I served under her for a few years before I left, but she'll listen to reason.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's refreshing to see that there is some hope for your institution, after all.
That's what we're trying to bring back. Keep the peace.
I'm the peacekeeper.
We're gonna get going. Okay, everyone. Hit these guys.
Are you
Said something about water. Does he need like water or something?
I'll explain it out of it.
Have a good day.
Like give him the water.
Just walk out.
Oh.
Okay, that was a long conversation.
Yeah.
You had to run us through everything.
While he was going through that whole thing, I used some mold earth and I made a little statue of earth.
Well, statue of who?
The elf guy.
Oh, you give it to him?
Yeah.
Takes it.
This is what I do for the keepers.
Sets it on the table.
Now get my water, bitches. Okay, bud.
Some heavy stuff.
Alright, run us through what happened.
Okay. All I know is that there's
Wait.
drow, there's water,
Go to the Feywild.
Feywild,
What's the Feywild?
the Fey, something about the Fey. Yeah. We just like are missing all the details. We just have keywords.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Water.
you remember talking about the Evertree, right?
Yep. Definitely remember the Evertree.
The Evertree's dying. That's what.
Yep.
The Evertree is dying.
Yep, that's what we did do
The
that.
drow are starting to resurface.
That's not good.
Why are they resurfacing?
Because the Evertree that holds them back is dying.
Okay, now those two. That connects those two. Now we understand.
Yep.
That part. Sorry.
And one of the only ways to save it is to go to the Feywilds, and there's a river there that we can gather water from, and that should restore its life.
Okay.
The door to the Feywild is sealed.
How come?
I'm not sure. The Empress sealed it after her father's passing. And the only people that can open it are her or the Fey, which protect the tree.
Not want us going in there.
I don't think she wants anyone going.
So they get permission
Even
for her
if
to
it
open
could-
the
Even if
gate.
it's save our tree.
I mean, I don't know if she's turning a blind eye to that or what.
Do you think maybe we should talk to her?
I don't think she'll want to talk to us.
Yeah, it seemed like it was really difficult to talk to her.
But like,
She holds some sort of resentment for some things that I don't know.
I don't know if I mean saving her people might be a good enough reason to forgive us, but I'm not sure about that.
I don't think going in there say, hey, your tree's dying, let us save you.
Okay,
is
then
gonna
how are
do
we getting
anything.
in there?
Well, no, I know, but I mean, if we just like show up with this water, what the
So once we gather the
Game
water,
plan.
we're gonna bring it back here.
okay,
And Silamir's going
to take it there?
Yeah.
Okay. How do we have like his word that he's going to take it there?
I mean, he's sounded like the most understandable person we've talked to so far.
Okay. Like straightforward.
Yeah.
Alright. Well,
He shed some light on some things that I didn't really know before either, so.
I don't understand all the body language very much though.
So, okay, just what's the plan? What are we going to do now?
Plan?
Go to that door.
Head far west of the Redwoods.
Okay.
There's a river that runs through Vanore, and if you follow that river all the way to the west, there's a waterfall, and behind that there's the door, which is supposedly sealed.
What time is it?
Right now? Yeah. Like 1 in the afternoon. Looking at the map. Can I see this river anywhere? On the map? Yeah. Yes. It actually runs like where the Dread River is. So you see that bridge that's on the bottom side? Probably like 2 inches below that, like even with the R and the E.
Okay.
It's like in between there, it runs like east to west.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yes.
So looking at that and looking at where we are
Where does it start this way? Go all the way
in the
over here?
village,
Yes.
do I have like a good idea of how I can get us there?
Straight shot. You'd have to get pretty close to the city.
Okay.
Going around it though, I think he did tell you guys to try to go around.
Yeah.
As to not really be
Noticed.
unless you had to. Yes.
Okay.
Quickest way there, avoiding the city. You probably just head northwest, and then when you get probably a day out of the city, directly west, and then go north. Gonna take you probably at least like a week.
Okay. Looking at the map, I can get us to that river. I don't know how far we have to follow it, but
He said to the water. So I'm guessing it's probably towards the end.
okay. Cool. I'll do what I can to get us there.
That's. No, you're not trying to take us through the city, right?
Yeah, I've accounted for that. Yep. I figured if
He said stay away from it.
if we're not telling the Empress, we should probably just go around.
And also, there have been drow roaming around that people have seen.
Another, if we've been being watched, and we have been being watched this whole time, I don't know if we'll be far enough away from the city to not be seen by prying eyes.
Are we sure there's people from the city? It could have been these people watching us.
No, these people were watching us, but what I'm saying is the city probably has its own set of eyes. And that's probably a much wider net given their larger population.
That and, like I just said, there have been drow spotted around here.
It's true, we do have to worry about the drow. You know anything about the drow? Aside from
Those are the.
all of the basic
Those are like
details?
the evil elves, right?
Yeah, basically.
If anybody wants to make like a religion, or not religion or history. If you're proficient in either one, you can make.
In which ones?
Religion or history.
Neither.
I don't have a single proficiency in intelligence, so don't ask me.
Oh, look.
18.
18. No. Alrighty. You remember hearing about the drow. They were very persistent in what they did, kind of branching out and becoming their own entire species, but it wasn't made possible until it was through Loth, when they found Loth, the kind of their main deity, that they were able to become kind of separate. You're not really too sure much into the reasonings and happenings of everything that occurred to make it so, but you do know the kind of blanket of what happened is just them feeling that they were superior to all other races and sought to kind of get power and have much more than just, the Redwoods themselves, and wasn't really sought too kindly by the Emperor at the time, who was Empress Shanare's father. But I don't really know his name. Don't remember really reading it anywhere in any books. But they've been kept at bay for years. Like nobody's even really seen drow or spoken much of them in the last few hundred years. You do know that they are no good though. You also remember reading almost like I can't remember the name exactly, but the last name of Slipfoot. It was a halfling individual who pretty much documented secrets of the dark elf, is kind of what his book is labeled. It's kind of more of a children's book in a way, but was intended to be a serious, writing or scripture to explain things of dark elves and the drow and getting more insight into them. But you do know that has a little bit of information in it, and probably if you were to find a city with a library of elvish books, it would have that. It would have been in your time at the keep, like when you first heard about the drow and stuff, just reading into them a little more if you were curious. It would probably have been something you slipped and very, very quickly grazed upon, as opposed to really reading intently into.
Okay.
If you have a wet foot, it's likely that you'll slip foot.
Ready to go?
Are we ready to go?
Do you need anything?
No, if we can really gain here.
There's nothing.
Probably just keep going.
The only thing I really need help with is getting that water.
Yeah.
Just hope that. I'd rather not try and act while we're not here.
Just
They seem like they can at least somewhat handle themselves. I feel like we should still probably go quick.
okay. Well, let's head out now. Still got daylight to burn.
Riding east, is that what it was?
What's going to ignore you?
I'm going to lead the group
Towards my best guess on how to get there.
Alrighty. As you head west towards this door, we will pick it up there next week.
You'll get to take the mic off.
Figured it'll be best if we just kind of wait on that a little bit, and I'll be able to prepare some more stuff too. Thank you for watching. please follow social media and all that good stuff. We will see you next week. Put it to 0, mute it, and then the end scene should be on there or something.